We're good? All right. The federal government is investigating Portland. Oh, man, this is going to be huge. The DOJ Civil Rights Division is launching this investigation because Portland police arrested journalist Nick Sortor after he got attacked. However, when Katie Davis Court was attacked, beaten, and left with a black eye, they did not arrest Antifa. Now, I can only just say, my friends, I've been warning for some time that the police in Portland are communists. So this is not surprising, but it's good to see the feds are ramping things up. We'll be talking about that. We got a bunch of other news. Donald Trump's got a major Supreme Court victory, allowing him to remove protected status from a ton of Venezuelan illegal immigrants. And the Treasury is going to be making a Trump coin with him raising his fist by the American flag. So that'll be fun. We'll talk about that and a lot more before we get started. Oh, actually, there's one more big story. Holy crap, I can't miss this one. We actually were thinking about leading with this story. Turns out, we were personally attacked by China. Yes, so the Blaze has a report that SIM site, the fake cell tower network that was discovered in New York, was actually targeting, among many others, me. This is a weird story. China was not very happy with me, targeting Steve Bannon, Kash Patel, and others. That story's pretty massive. We'll get to that one as well. Before we get started, we got a great sponsor, my friends. It is AmericanFinancing.net/Tim. The Fed has finally dropped interest rates. And that's great news for American homeowners. Expenses have been a major burden on families. Wages are flat. Prices keep climbing. And for many, the only way to make ends meet is to lean on credit cards. That cycle of high interest debt makes it hard to stay ahead. If you're a homeowner, I want you to call my friends at American Financing right now. Interest rates have dropped. Many homeowners are seeing options in the low fives. Compare that to credit cards, charging rates in the 20s or higher. There's an easy path to say you can finally put your hard-earned equity to work for you. American Financing can help you pay off that expensive debt, free up your cash flow, and keep your budget under control. Their salary-based mortgage consultants are saving customers an average of $800 a month. And if you get started today, you may even be able to delay your next mortgage payment. Take control. Call American Financing today at 866-890-7811. That's 866-890-7811, or visit AmericanFinancing.net/Tim. And then, my friends, we've got one more sponsor for all you guys. It is Block Trust IRA. Cryptocurrency is here to stay. Block Trust IRA is making crypto accessible to everyday Americans looking to build retirement wealth. Their white glove concierge service walks you through the entire process. No overseas call centers, just real American crypto specialists helping you invest safely. You want to go to blocktrustira.com/Tim. What truly sets them apart is that Block Trust IRA believes Bitcoin changed the game, and now AI has changed the strategy. Their exclusive access to the award-winning Animus AI tech, recognized by Bitcoin Magazine as the #1 crypto platform among 1,500 global competitors. This system works 24/7, executing sophisticated strategies that outperform traditional buy and hold approaches by a significant margin, minimizing risk and maximizing opportunity. With over 60 cryptocurrencies to choose from and military-grade security protection for your investments and $200 million in insurance, you can diversify with complete peace of mind. Whether you're rolling over an IRA, 401k, or just getting started in crypto, Block Trust IRA has you covered. For a limited time, get up to $2,500 in free bonus crypto when you open an account. Again, blocktrustira.com/Tim. Don't forget, invest responsibly. Make sure you're making the right decisions for yourself. And also, smash that like button right now. Share the show with everyone you know. Joining us tonight to talk about this and so much more is Catalina Lauf.
Hey, guys.
Who are you? What do you do?
I am Catalina Lauf. I'm running for Congress in Florida's 19th district, encompassing parts of Fort Myers, Cape Coral, Naples, Bonita Springs, Estero. I'm really happy to be here.
Right on. We got Luke hanging out.
Hey guys, Luke Rudowski, youtube.com/wearechange. Lots of crazy stuff happening right now. UAPs just shut down the Munich airport.
Wait, what?
Yeah. There's a bunch of crazy stuff happening in Europe with what I believe to be probably interdimensional
Russia.
beings. Maybe, but we could go over it in the show. Trump just told Israel to stop bombing Gaza. So far they haven't, so hopefully we'll talk about that and a lot more. If you like to trigger the fats, you can with the shirt that I'm wearing right now on thebestpoliticalshirts.com too. Thank you.
Trigger the fats. That's my cue. Hi, everyone. Get healthy. Eat healthy. Cut out the seed oils. Eat coconut oil, olive oil, and what's the other one? Avocado oil. Those are your fruit oils that you want to use. Happy to be here. And we also, this maniac to my right, Mr. Tate Brown.
What's up, Patriots? Tate Brown here. Pro beef tallow. I'm a tallow head, so happy to be here.
A towel head, huh?
Tallow.
Interesting word.
Yeah. It's a little sleight of hand.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's talk about the news. We've got this story from the Post-Millennial. DOJ Civil Rights Division investigates Portland police over response to Antifa attack on Katie Davis Court and the arrest of Nick Sortor. For those that missed this, many of you may be aware that Katie Davis Court, a reporter for the Post-Millennial, was bashed in the head, giving her a black eye. Just last night or early this morning, depending on where you live, Nick Sortor, a conservative journalist, had been attacked by Antifa, and when he went to the police to report the crime, they arrested him. I've said it before. I said it this morning. I'm going to say it now. The cops in the Pacific Northwest are communists. I'm saying that somewhat to be a dick. They are far leftists. They are aligned with the left. They protect Antifa. Antifa are there under the protection of the police. That is why when Katie was attacked, they did not arrest them. That is why when Nick Sortor got attacked, they arrested him. Now, you can make any argument in the world you want. Actions speak louder than words. But the big news is, check this out. Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights Harmeet Dillon has launched an investigation into the assault of Katie Davis Court and the arrest of Nick Sortor. I believe we actually have this tweet from Harmeet Dillon saying, Portland, it's FO time, buckle up. And then we have this letter published by Harmeet Dillon saying, Portland signed, sealed, and delivered. I'll just read some of this. It says, Dear Mr. Taylor and Chief Day, your immediate attention to this matter is required. We are writing regarding Portland Police Bureau's response to incidents surrounding the ICE facility in Portland, and specifically the city of Portland's use of its policing powers in a manner that may be based on viewpoint discrimination. Specifically, 3 issues have been brought to our attention. PPB reportedly arrested individuals who may have been involved in an altercation, choosing to arrest Nick Sortor but not others. PPB reportedly failed to identify or arrest individuals who allegedly assaulted Katie Davis Court, even after briefly detaining the individuals. And the city of Portland reportedly has attempted to use its policing powers through a zoning enforcement action to limit ICE's use of its Portland facility. She goes on to say, while we have not reached any conclusions on these allegations, we note a consistent theme in these 3 allegations. All 3 would choose one viewpoint over another. Moreover, the allegations implicate the city's performance under the settlement agreement in the above referenced case. They go to mention, Harmeet Dillon mentions more to address our compliance concerns raised by these allegations. We request the following by no later than October 10th. The original unredacted BWC recording of the officer, body-worn camera, involved in the arrest of Nick Sortor, the body-worn camera of the incident involving Ms. Davis Court, all unredacted incident reports for Ms. Sortor and Ms. Davis Court, all complaints received about the incidents involving Mr. Sortor and Ms. Davis Court, or the decision to target the ICE facility for zoning enforcement, all non-attorney client privilege communications regarding their decisions, all non-attorney client privilege communications regarding directions to PPB responding to those protests, and any documents or explanation the city wants to provide to the U.S. in response to the above listed allegations. Now, it sounds fun, but do y'all think this actually has teeth, or it's just talk?
Drew Hernandez pointed out that she misspelled Nick's name. She spelled it Sortor with Sorter in the first frame for sure. I didn't read through all of it. At the bottom there, you'll see his name spelled with an E. I don't know if that makes she has to reissue this. It's just
I don't think so.
Yeah, and I don't know that it really matters
It's called a harmless error.
Right. It's obvious that she's talking about Nick and what happened. The thing is, the police's job is to keep the peace. So at the microcosm, they're like, well, the reporter is the one that's poking the bear. So let's calm down. Let's take the reporter away and everything will be calm. But you have to zoom out and look at Portland in general, and that these groups that may be, organized and maybe somewhat peaceful in their pretension to destroy, might actually be the chaotic thing. And the reporters that are there might, it's more that Antifa is poking the United States' bear as opposed to the reporter poking Antifa's bear. And the federal government getting involved, I think, shows that. We have cameras now. We have internet. They can't do this stuff in seclusion anymore and hide it.
Ian, we're in America. People have a right to their opinions. And I don't care if he's poking the bear or not. I don't care what his opinions are. He has a right to report from there. The police officers, if they were doing their job, they should have intervened right away when people were attacking him, not wait after the fact to arrest all the parties. I heard that other people were arrested here as well, so I don't know if that is true with what Harmeet Dillon is saying, but obviously, clearly, we've been talking about this for the last few days. This has always been going on. People get attacked, you defend yourself, because I think Nick admitted to trying to swing back as well, and then you get arrested for disorderly conduct, which is ridiculous.
Nick tweeted the night before that if he gets attacked and defends himself, he'll be arrested.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he knew they'd target him for self-defense. See, what people need to understand is that Antifa is a sanctioned division within the government. And I mean that not in the hard literal sense, like you're going to go to the government and find documentation of it, but the police protect Antifa because they were effectively privateers for the city to attack their enemies. The Portland police work for the liberal government, which does not want ICE operating. They have a vested interest in protecting criminals. How do they get rid of ICE? How do they obstruct ICE? Well, they can't order police to do it. So what happens is, through circuitous means, they allow Antifa, protect Antifa, and then say, well, there's nothing we can do about it. Then when Antifa attacks Nick, they arrest Nick. Why? Because he's interfering with a government operation. What about Katie Davis Court gets attacked? They don't arrest anybody because those people are allies of the police. This has been true for probably 5 years. We watched this when they did the Chaz Chop. There was one video where a guy got attacked by Antifa and he was backing away with his hands up. Cops pull up behind him, jump out of a vehicle, and grab him and arrest him. And then apologize to Antifa. And that was in Seattle. We know this is what's happening. The feds need to go in. So I hope this has real teeth.
I think it does, because for so long we have seen these groups being completely emboldened by being allowed to get away with this stuff. Everybody turns a blind eye, especially under Democratic administrations. Finally, now that President Trump is laying down law and order and defending, rightfully so, conservative voices, I really believe this is I don't want to say, I do feel that this is actually going to set precedent to future moments of this, because it has to stop. I mean, it's unbelievable, the violence that has been being caused against people who are, like Nick, just trying to spread facts. Thank God for social media, because look at the video. Had we not had that, had we not even had evidence, none of this would even be talked about. And thank God for the movement, because think about everybody who came up to his defense, that it even got to the eyes of the AG.
I feel like Antifa needs what I would call a reality check. And this is actually could be a good thing for the movement of people that are actually anti-fascist. The United States government is not fascist in the sense of Giovanni Gentile's fascism. It was like a spiritual religious movement of like, we are all one, we are all individuals, but we are also all connected. We are all one. And the state is the manifestation of that. And so we are all, the state speaks for us. The state is the greatest force of all of us. And it became this religious zeitgeist in Italy that Mussolini then took, and he made Gentile his, minister.
So your point?
So my point is, if we don't have a country like that, that's not how our country works. People don't have religious adoration. I mean, now you can see people, it might spark up. People are like, good, govern me harder, daddy. Give me the feds, give me the feds. That can lead to fascism. But in the meantime, we're more of a corporatocracy.
This conversation, and I don't mean this to sound disrespectful, but the things you're saying are 2018.
People, they need to hear it, though. People that are Antifa and they think they're actually challenging fascism are in the wrong.
That's, again, that's why I'm saying this conversation is 2018. These people don't think they're Antifa. They do not believe they are fighting fascism. They are either completely devoid of any thought at all, or they are intentionally lying for the purpose of fomenting violence.
Last night you talked about the green shirts, the yellow shirts, and the red shirts in Antifa. And I think the green shirts truly believe they're fighting fascism and don't know what fascism is.
Who's paying them,
this is the point. The point is, they don't know what fascism, communism, anti-fascism is. They don't know what Antifa is. They've never heard of these things. And they are just there because someone invited them to come down, and they don't know anything.
So I'm speaking to those people.
This is a very, very important distinction. And this is 2025. The conversation has advanced. There was Joe Rogan mentioned this, and I had this critique throughout the week, that he said these people really thought that Charlie was a bad guy and that they were good people. Joe is incorrect in that assessment. The reason why the lies about Charlie were able to work on the left is because the left never heard of him before. So another good example is I'm walking around the city today, and I get recognized all the time. And I've got security. We'll keep it at that. And in these conversations, one points out, I'd say, people seem to notice that whenever someone comes up to me, they're a fan. That's right, because in the actual political space, the people who are apprised of politics know what they're talking about, see me and say, I know who you are Tim Pool, I'm a fan. Liberals see me and don't know anything. So the instances where I encounter someone who doesn't like me are exceedingly rare in public, because the average liberal has no idea what is going on in politics, and you need only look at politics. You know who's a great follow when he unlocks his account is Jess Margera. Steve Bannon talks about how you got to watch MSNBC so you know what they're thinking, and he's right. I like to follow Jess Margera. He's Bam Margera's brother, but he locks his account from time to time. And he makes posts where you're like, okay, I see how they're thinking. They've not even Google searched this. The example being the reason for this shutdown. Very simple. If you turn on MSNBC, they're going to have Democrats going, we are like Schumer or some Democrat will go, there is no healthcare benefits for illegal immigrants. We are not requesting it. We are not offering it. There, I said it. Case closed. And the liberals go, well, there it is. Why are Republicans lying? If they actually were telling liberals the truth, they'd say, and the reason is because we deem that anybody who enters the country illegally and then makes an assertion of legal status, we pause and say, this is now legally permitted. So the Democrats don't actually tell liberals what's going on. They just lie to them. That's the important thing. The people who are out on the ground at ICE don't know what ICE does, don't know what CBP is. If you went to these people and said, what does ICE stand for? They'd say, get out of here. If you said, what does CBP stand for? If you said, what is USCIS? They'd go, huh? That's the point. They're not fighting fascists. They are just devoid of thought. The people who organize these rallies and the liberal high priests who communicate and rally them online know they are lying intentionally. Like Hassan Piker posing in front of what kind of car did he buy? He bought like a Maserati or something. Like, come on, dude. This guy lives in a mansion. He's not an anti-capitalist. He's a grifter. That's the point. All these people are lying.
The liberal
They're
media
useful idiots.
Yeah, and the liberal media has been lying to us the entire time since 1949. It's only when Trump came along and he sort of kind of red-pilled people, intentionally or not, and a generation of 15-year-olds was like, this guy's speaking the truth, at least.
I would argue that many of them are useful idiots to an extent. There are some revolutionaries. But when you take a look at the... here's a story for you guys. We had Naima Trout scheduled, confirmed for the Culture War Live. When we reach out to people for this debate, hey, we want liberals, we want conservatives. Liberals always say, here's my fee. Because they don't care about a cause, making the country better. Their whole job is, their whole life is, here's how many followers I have, here's how much money I am owed for this appearance. That's why if you notice, I'll keep some names out of this, but some of these bigger podcasts, which seem to get prominent liberals on their shows, pay them. And then you'll find that these prominent liberals who are now being paid by these other podcasters change their opinions. It's pretty obvious. When we book conservatives, actually, we barely have to try. They're knocking on the door nonstop. Everyone knows this. Bill Maher talked about it. We booked Naima Trout, and she said, I want money. And we said, we lose money doing these events. This is really just about having the debate. We understand, though, it's a live event, so we can offer you $500 as a fee. Her team agreed to it and said, okay, we accept. We'll cover your travel accommodation and give you $500 cash. Nobody else is getting paid. They emailed us yesterday saying, we want $5,000. Can you do that? And we said, no, we can't. We lose money doing this. And you know what? Part of me says, I get it. They're claiming like she got another offer. It's going to pay her a lot of money and she has to take it. Totally fine. Who am I to tell you not to take that money? But conservatives do it for the love and for the cause and for the movement, and liberals do it for the money. So in terms of these people on the ground that are being antagonized by people, I say that figuratively, who are being riled up by the likes of Hassan or the Krasensteins. The only reason Hassan is saying the things that he says is so that he gets more clicks and makes more money. And it's evidenced in the fact that he has no consistent logic behind what he says. These people on the ground are attacking Nick Sortor not because he's Nick Sortor. They don't know who Nick Sortor is. Yep. They wouldn't know if he was a fascist or anything. All they know is they were told, bad guy, hit bad guy. There's nothing you can say to them. I asked you this yesterday, Ian, I'll ask you again. If you were standing on the gallows with one of these guys standing behind you, could you say anything that would change their mind about them about to hang you?
Technically, yes, but good luck
Literally,
figuring out what
no.
to say in the heat of the moment.
Yeah,
know?
winning the lottery, we get it. But the point
maybe,
is, nothing you say would make them change their mind because they don't even know who you
not
are.
Literally nothing. Yeah. It's not literally nothing.
Well, a lot of them are mentally ill, not just totally ignorant. I mean, we know this from personal experiences when me and Tim were out in Germany during the biggest Antifa meeting ever in history recorded, and they took a picture of us standing next to somebody.
No. Yep. We were all walking in. It was like you, me, and Max, I think his name was.
Yes, Max and Marcus.
And then Lauren Southern was in the background walking a different direction.
Yeah.
And that was enough to where they said, anyone in this photograph must be beaten.
Yes.
Whether you were with Lauren or not. And so they ended up beating, like, this is, I want to make sure this is very, very clear for everybody. Sorry for interrupting you, Luke, but Marcus and Lauren Southern don't know each other.
Yep.
And they attacked Marcus and tried stealing his camera because he was seen in the foreground of a photo. He was walking forward by himself. She was in the background walking the other direction, so they attacked him.
You know
That's
what?
how
And
insane they are.
Marcus was an international journalist.
He worked for, like,
so
Reuters
so was
and
Max. Max was working for the German mainstream media, and they still decided to single them out, beat the crap out of him. Max had to have knee surgery afterwards because they kept stomping him. Luckily, I was able to get away with a few lumps, but still, it wasn't a pleasant scenario where they were literally following us throughout the entire city and then following us home as well.
Bro,
So
let me tell you how creepy these people are, okay? So when Lauren Southern was getting threatened and we were like, maybe we should leave, I said, I'm going to go. I'm done here. Like, I don't want to stick around. It's getting dicey. I'll go back with Lauren, make sure she makes it back to the apartment, to the Airbnb.
yeah, she was being hard-headed. She was like, I'm not going to leave. I'm going to keep reporting. I'm like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah,
what
Luke
are you
was like,
doing, you insane
"Leave."
woman?
And I was like, I'm leaving. You can come. Let's go.
Yeah.
When we were leaving, people were tweeting our location as we walked through various neighborhoods. So we're in a side street in Hamburg, Germany, not anywhere near any businesses or anything, and we see two people pass on bikes, the only people we saw, and they look at us and turn their head like this at us as they go by, and I'm like, that was weird.
Yeah.
Next thing we know, following the hashtag on Twitter, citing Lauren Southern seen at this intersection, I went, holy crap. Let's go. So we went to a restaurant and we were like, let's just wait out inside. They were regular people walking down the street, seeing us, and then tweeting it. That's how psychotic these Stepford wife cultists are in Germany.
And then they shut down the train systems by
Oh my
by
God.
blocking all the railroads. Then they were shutting down the airport. Then they were literally marching around just burning cars and stores as they pleased, as police officers literally were just like, yeah, we're not going to do anything here. That's the type of scenario that we were in as we were literally waiting inside of our Airbnb, trying to figure out if they figured out our location or not, because help wasn't coming.
You know, the
police
reason-
wasn't going to help you.
The
then.
reason I would only make an appeal to people, the green shirts, the people that don't know, on a show like this is because there's something different about when you're in the wisdom of a crowd. When you're in a crowd, I would never make an appeal to a crowd. It's useless. They have mob mentality, but individuals that catch a clip on the news might hear something and be like,
camera
I'm
died.
not going to the next rally.
Battery?
Sorry if the screen's green, not sorry.
I'll just
Tim, I was going to ask you.
Scoot on in, T-Bone.
To your point, though, about liberals, especially Antifa types, being motivated by cash, how many of those people do you think are paid activists? Because I do feel that so much of this, is this actually not, it's not organic as the left tries to paint it out to be.
Well, I mean,
They're actually getting paid.
define
I think.
organic. I mean,
Are people
stupid people can be hired to do a lot of jobs.
Of
and
course.
so
And who's
some-
paying them?
simple answer, George Soros.
Yeah, let's
I-
get down to the bottom of the money.
They're investigating. So the way it works is the Open Society Foundation?
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
make contributions to a bunch of NGOs. That's
Right.
it. What those NGOs do is it's different. So what ends up happening is when you want to simplify it for a conservative and you say George Soros is providing a lot of the funding, not all of it, but a piece of it to various NGOs, which finds its way into the hands of these protesters. The left then says, because this doesn't actually help inform the average person, because then what you end up hearing is like on the ground during Occupy, people going, I wish I was getting a Soros check. Tool. Because, Hannity and Fox News are saying Soros was paying these protesters. What actually happens is during Occupy Wall Street, there was a guy, a facilitator. We call these, we were talking about this yesterday, the yellow. There's green, yellow, and red. Yellow organized, they could be targeted if people find out who they are. Red engage in violence, and the green are the doofs. They trick into coming by claiming that Radiohead is going to play at Zuccotti Park.
Wow.
They literally did this. They said Radiohead was doing a free show. It was Radiohead, right, Luke?
Yes.
Radiohead was doing a free show at Occupy Wall Street. 2,000 people showed up. And then the yellow, they said, mic check. Everyone knows mic check. Before Radiohead, we're going to teach you guys about Occupy. And then use that as an opportunity to indoctrinate. Once they were done, they said, unfortunately, Radiohead's not coming.
Yeah.
Tricked everybody to get there.
Unreal.
So what
It's a
happened?
psyop.
So these people, they're paid to be there. How?
Yeah.
No one says to them, go down and organize Occupy. What happens is they work for a nonprofit that receives funding from a variety of sources.
Yeah.
Some of it probably USAID. Like USAID will give money to various NGOs and
Right.
foundations will give money to them. They could be environmental nonprofits. The boss, the director of that office will say to the guy, you know what, man? Why don't you take the day off? You wanted to go hang out at Occupy Wall Street, right? They sure could use an organizer. Take the day off on me. They go down there, and they're supposed to be working a salaried position for the nonprofit. They're still getting paid, but now they're organizing these protests, creating flyers, and getting people to show up. And it's not really, but money is fungible.
Yeah.
So when they say take the day off, so long as you're organizing Occupy Wall Street, I'm okay with that. They're getting paid to be there. Regular people on the right can't quit their jobs and go do this stuff.
Yeah.
That's why I see guys like Tim and Luke. I mean, you've been dealing with these freaks for, well over a decade now. And I see this, and then you compare that and contrast that with sort of the commentary class on the right over the last 10 to 15 years. And they're just convinced they can principle their way out of this just from principles. And you two specifically, have been sounding the alarm on political violence now for a really long time, saying, nope, it's here. It's
Who
real.
has?
YouTube? No, you guys.
Oh, you guys. I was like, YouTube.
But what's
YouTube.
Yeah,
YouTube's
so it's like
protecting it.
you guys have been sounding alarm like this is prevalent on the left, and
You know what really bothers me is that no matter how many times I've said over the past few years, like, okay, to be fair, obviously the people who watch this show agree with me to a great deal, not on everything, but I kept pointing out back 2018, these cops are communists. The chief of police is appointed by a Democrat. The Democrats don't like you. And so we've learned this hard lesson when Proud Boys were sentenced to prison for 4 years after Antifa attacked them. And this is not the first time we have seen the police target the innocent and let the criminals go.
Yep.
It happens on a daily basis. I keep hearing from conservatives, even recently, saying, it's not the cops' fault, Tim. It's the DAs who let them go. Maybe now, those naysayers watching Nick Sortor get arrested after they attacked him and Katie Davis Court got attacked and they would not arrest Antifa, maybe now you're like, oh, Tim was right the whole time. Communists can get hired as cops all the same. The Soviet Union had police, okay? All of the communist countries, China has police, and they are commies.
Yeah.
To your point, what's sad about all this political violence is that this was laid out as early as like the 70s. And it's crazy that it has taken our side so long to recognize what they're capable of. The stuff has been laid out in Saul Alinsky's books. They've been laid out in the Weather Underground, if you knew who those guys were. And this stuff is just recycled, except now on a mass scale, I think. And it's just like we've known about this.
Mm-hmm.
And why has it gotten this bad? And whose fault is it that it has been emboldened? And I think it's because the culture has changed significantly.
Well, I can give you a reason. Let's jump to this story from The Hill. Kavanaugh's attempted assassin sentenced to 8 years in prison. That's it. He attempted to assassinate not just a sitting Supreme Court justice, but his family was threatened as well. 8 years. That's pretty wild. So the message being sent with the assassination of the assassination allegedly by Luigi Mangione of Brian Thompson, the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and the attempt on Kavanaugh's life is that you're going to get a slap on the wrist. You are going to be venerated and praised. So just a moment ago, you were mentioning the culture that brought us to this point. You've got a variety of factors at play. One, these liberal judges live in a liberal world and they want people on the right assassinated. Come on, I'm not playing stupid games anymore. When they say to this guy, you're free to go, okay, it's not literally 8 years in prison, but for attempting to kill a sitting Supreme Court justice, that's insane. There are people who are in prison longer than that for marijuana, just having pot.
Yep. And with good behavior, it might be just 4 years.
Indeed.
Yeah. So this judge, Deborah Brodman, she's actually a Biden appointee.
Indeed,
and
she is.
she stated how she considered the fact that the suspect now identifies as a woman as a reason to lower the sentence.
There we go.
And he might even be in a woman's prison, which would be
This is
absolutely
People
ridiculous.
need to understand
This is
what
sick.
time it is.
Yeah.
We have two distinct identities in the United States. The Democrats occupy the multicultural democracy, and everyone else occupies the constitutional republic. Even default libs are constitutional republic people, just don't know it. So they end up marching in lockstep with this weird cult.
Sometimes. A lot of them don't, though.
Well, as of recently, there has been a sharp bifurcation with the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Many entrenched themselves, solidifying their position in the cult, and many others broke away. And I predicted this. I could be wrong because not there's data to this, but basically what I'm seeing is what I expected to happen. That is, many default libs were shocked by the killing and are scared by it. And so there have been prominent individuals who have been speaking out in support of Turning Point and for Charlie, despite being what you'd consider default libs. They don't pay attention to politics. So I'm talking about celebrities, athletes, and otherwise. However, a decent amount of these people have gone hard at celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk. So what my view is, and my prediction for the next year is I think there's going to be a terror attack or a major assassination within the next year. And the reason is exactly this. The right coalition has just expanded by double digits because of the assassination of Charlie Kirk scaring people. But default libs, many of them, entrenched themselves in the left cult. So I'd look at it like maybe 50% are leaning right with a decent boost, and now you've got 30 some odd percent in the left camp, boosting their numbers from what was actually like 10% a decade ago to like 20 in the past several years. So these people have basically entrenched themselves in the woke ideology cult, whatever you want to call it. That means they are going to believe there's fascists taking over. They are going to believe, like Gavin Newsom said, there will not be an election in 2028, and they are not going to accept Republicans winning. With the killing of Charlie Kirk, pushing a little bit of support towards the right, because it certainly didn't go the other way. The Republicans probably have an edge to win in many new locations, potentially in New Jersey, maybe not. I'd estimate there's a strong probability they actually survive the midterms, which would be shocking because usually it goes the other way.
Yep.
If the Democrats are looking like they are going to lose in just shy of a year's time, I believe that the entrenched large size of this cult is going to get extremely violent.
Dude, I'm concerned about false flags, like a foreign operative making it look like they're part of this liberal cult, whatever, and doing another assassination attempt, or
Because it'll break the country.
Right,
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, if you look at the first civil war in America, there was other countries that were involved in it. If there's going to be another civil war, you could bet your bottom dollar China, Russia, Iran, North Korea. Well, sorry, when?
I'm kidding.
When the inevitable happens, I think we're in a non-kinetic type of war, and we see that when people doubled down after the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Today, I made a video and I said it wasn't
non-kinetic.
Yeah, non-kinetic.
That
I
would be
apologize.
kinetic.
I would argue that it wasn't just the assassination of Charlie, but the response to it that really kind of woke people up to just how close we are to bedlam and utter chaos in our society. And I think it really kind of ripped off the face and the mask of the establishment. And now people are finally seeing it to be as horrendous as it is. So this is a make or break moment for America that is going to be a key deciding factor to see where we're going from here. But all signs point to more trouble.
I don't see a path away from this because the way I look at it, there are a lot of people that watch this show and watch my morning show, and I'm not right about everything. I'm wrong about a lot. But the predictions that I have made have been, let's just say it, vaguely correct, right? So the example that I often give is in September of 2020, I said if Trump loses in November, his supporters are going to storm the White House. They're going to bust it down. They are not going to accept this. I was told that I was crazy, paranoid, etc. November came and went, nothing happened, and liberals made videos saying Tim Pool's crazy, he's a conspiracy theorist. Then January 6th happened. These same liberals made videos saying Tim Pool had foreknowledge of January 6th. They couldn't accept that, no, I just saw the temperature and saw what was going to happen.
I wonder
No,
if the
but the FBI did.
I wonder if the FBI watched your video and they're like, all right, let's use this projection to do it.
I don't know. The point is this.
It's sick what happened.
There
to me, too.
is a river all around us. We are not the biggest show in the world, nor do we reach the most people. And while many people watch the show for a long time have probably been saying, I think Tim is actually right about the path that we're on. Convincing you guys doesn't change the direction of the river. So right now where we're at is we are cognizant of what is happening. We have been cognizant of it for 7 years, and there's little we can do to stop it.
Well, there's sort of
the point is this. Dana White gave an interview where he said, I don't like cancel culture. People shouldn't lose their jobs for what they're saying about Charlie Kirk. That is the perfect example of why nothing will stop this. Now, maybe I'm wrong because I'm only, I say I'm vaguely correct. Obviously, nobody stormed the White House in November, but you get how I was kind of close to it. Dana White gave a great example of prominent, moderate individuals who support Trump do not understand what they are supporting. When Dana White says we should allow people to celebrate the assassination of Charlie Kirk, he's saying, I'm not really involved in politics. I'm for free speech. A society where its most prominent business magnates and personalities defend the right to celebrate assassinations is a society headed down the path of Rwanda, which is exactly what happened when people would go on the radio and on the TV and say, I think it was the Tootsies, right? The other tribe are a bunch of demonic evil, and they got to be purged and killed, and mocking them and laughing. And then finally one day people woke up and said, okay, we're doing it, and started massacring the other tribe. We have opened the door to civil war because we celebrated, I don't say we, but this country defended the right of people to go on social media and go on TV and defend the assassination of Brian Thompson. Less than a year later, Charlie Kirk was assassinated, and the left is still celebrating it, sending the message that if you're a liberal and you try to kill somebody, worst case scenario, you'll get a slap on the wrist. 8 years, maybe, if you're caught. If you are and you go to jail, they will make sainthood candles for you. They will celebrate you and praise you. We recently saw a comedy show at a university where in their thank you at the portion at the end, it said Charlie Kirk's killer. So when Dana White says this must be allowed, cancel culture is bad, he has said green light for 50 million people in this country to create an economy based on murdering your political opponents.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you want to irrigate a canal. He's like, just open the damn floodgates. We need the water in the canal. Like, bro, there's a way to irrigate the canal. Obviously, we need free speech, but you also have to be just about how you allow society to warp people's minds. Like, but here's the thing about prediction, and I think a lot about, are we predicting the future or are we creating the future? Like if I go on TV and say, there's going to be a party on Friday at that place, and then all these people hear it and they're like, oh, and then they all show up, I just manifested a party. I didn't even, so if you say there's going to be a civil war, people are like, oh, and then they all show up.
Except for the fact that the entire time people have been largely laughing and saying it's never going to happen.
There is a nuance between telling people get ready and be prepared and be there. It's sort of, so there's like a fine line. You know, you don't want to be fake, and you don't want to say everything's fine.
The people who are watching the show are not going out in the streets with guns and assassinating people.
But other people that might be afraid of you, people that hear you and they're like, really? He thinks, okay, I'm ready. Like,
I will say from the political side of things that yes, it does in a way, it does embolden people when they get a slap on the wrist. At the same time, though, I do believe that it wakes up a lot of people who have been silent. There is a sleeping giant in this country. We saw it in this last election. I believe that people finally got involved. And as a candidate and things like that, sometimes it's like, you want people to be able to get involved into the process because so many people are not. But now, because of everything that's been going on, all the hate that's happening, reasonably minded people on both sides of the aisle look at this. I think there are a lot of reasonable Democrats that look at the assassination on Charlie Kirk and horrific things that happened to conservatives. I want to believe, and I truly believe, and the data does show that people are waking up, and there is still this sense of Americanism that whoa, this is not who we are as Americans. We are not the people of Rwanda. We have values and virtue in this country. And I do believe that we are seeing the change because so many people are getting involved in the political process. I just, maybe anecdotally, but I get messages all the time that are like, hey, look, I'm sick of sitting on the sidelines. I want to help out. I want to get involved. I want to run for office. I'm not afraid to speak out anymore. And so I think for every time that we're living through these really rough times, we do all have a choice, though, of what our country, what do we want the country to look like? This is still our country at the end of the day. And there is still a lot of Americanism there that I think is the guiding light to the future.
Do you think there's an off-ramp? And what's the off-ramp to the kind of collision course that we are in now?
I think maybe I'm an idealist. I'm a little bit more optimistic. Look, our country has gone through so many more hard times. You look at the Civil War, you look at World War II. Like we have lived in our own gilded age in a sense. We're now seeing chaos and all of that. However, our country has survived tremendous trials, and how we survived them were moments like this where we all did come together and we did revival of what it meant to be an American. And I still believe that everybody, even on our worst day, we are still the greatest country in the world, and we will turn this around, but it takes everybody to get involved. It takes people to stop sipping on their, Starbucks lattes and just pretending like everything's fine. You have to get involved. And I always say this, it will become personal to everybody. If it hasn't become personal to you yet, it will become personal. whether that is the transgender movement or whether it's illegal immigration, all these policy issues that this enemy within has created in our country, one day it will get personal to people. And when it gets personal to enough people, are enough people going to stand up and say, this is not what we're going to do anymore.
So no, we're screwed.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because it's like I do agree we've been through some tough times as a country, but I think the problem was in the 60s and 70s, like you mentioned, with Weather Underground and this sort of leftist paramilitaries that we saw. So we never actually sufficiently beat them. I mean, you saw like Bill Ayers and Bernadine Dorn like advising like modern liberals and these sorts of things, the Obamas.
Yeah.
And so it's like I agree, but it's part of the problem we're dealing with now is that we never actually sort of successfully put these people away when we had the chance, 50 years ago. And now we're having to deal with it again. And now, I mean, like to Tim's point, we're going into a midterms that look like it's going to be favorable for the Republicans. They're losing access to a lot of funding. So they're back into a corner. So it's not even a prediction, it's just math.
Prediction markets still favor Democrats.
Sure.
But we'll see in 1 year's
as far
time.
as holding on to some degree.
Yeah.
So they feel demoralized. They feel backed into a corner.
The prediction market says Democrats are going to take the majority of the House. But that happens every cycle.
The only way that happens, though, we have such a slim majority, and this is why everybody who's listening has to get involved because we have such a slim majority. If the Democrats do win, we will not be able to pass anything from the Trump agenda, which has been remarkably better than obviously the Biden administration. But the reason for that is because normally in these off-cycle years, Republicans, the people who we rely on, sometimes unfortunately don't come out. And so it costs a ton of money to get people to get out and vote because sometimes we become complacent. I don't think that that's going to be the case this now, especially after everything that's been going on. This was a mandate that happened with the reelection of President Trump. So much bad happened prior to that I think people now understood the cost and the consequences of not waking up. And so I think that we are going to take the House back, but it takes, again, the silent majority to get up, to knock doors, to volunteer, to contribute. Everybody has a skill set, or everybody has a role in this movement to make sure that we do win the House, keep the House.
Is that where you're running? Like you're running right now in Florida?
Yes, I am.
What happened? How'd you get started?
So I have obviously been in politics for quite some time now, and my original inspiration, I always say, was AOC, because I look at somebody like that and I looked at how there weren't enough people on the Republican side speaking out against women like her and these young women who were completely manipulating so many minds, especially of the younger generation. And I'm like, why don't we have a counter voice to a lot of these people? And so I was honored to be able to get a lot of support in my candidacy. And now that we're running in Florida, people are really fed up. They want people who actually care about them. And we have, even on both sides of the aisle, we've had people in Congress who are not working for the people. You see it, unfortunately, sometimes on the Republican side. And it's time that we bring back servant leadership. It's time we bring back a representative democracy, which is what we were founded upon. Your congressperson is supposed to care about you. They are supposed to be a lion for your values and a voice in Washington for you. And so for so long, people have been fed up about that.
I feel like Thomas Massey is doing that, but it's like when you have 700,000 people that you have to represent, can that even function? Like, I represent me. I can't really represent Tate because he's too awesome. And I don't know what he's thinking at night. I can't get into your brains, people, and I don't want to. We shouldn't be brain tapping each other. So
where do you stand? Where do you stand on the Thomas Massey issue? Are you with Massey or are you against Massey?
Ultimately, it's up for his constituency to decide. That's not for I do agree with some of what in the past, especially, but I'm a little bit more pragmatic when it comes to everything that's going on from a political perspective. There are a lot of quote unquote hills to die on in politics, and sometimes it's better that we do remain united as a party in a lot of ways, because when you break out into these factions, which is what Republicans sometimes do because we're just more individualist thinking, the left always stays together. They mass organize. They're unified all the time. I'm not saying that we should, be like them. However, I am saying that we need to be a party that is on the same page. If we are divided as a party, then that allows the subversion of the Democrats to be able to infiltrate our party, but also to then be the stronger, to then rebuild and be strong, and then they do what they do. And so I think ultimately it's up to his constituency to decide on how they feel, and that's how ultimately it should play out.
I feel like with the Epstein stuff, he's going hard on release the Epstein files. That he thinks this is what my people want. I don't care about the Republican Party. I don't care about the federal government. I'm representing 700,000 people. They want the files, so I'm going to vote to do it. And it's like, it does kind of break away from the party in some ways, because a lot of people are like, hey, I think we're using this data as blackmail against the deep state right now. Don't unleash. That's what Alex Jones said last night. Let's not unleash it because we're using it. But he's adhering to this people, and the people aren't all on the same page. People in Kentucky are different than people in Florida and Colorado, or wherever you're coming from. Anyway,
Okay.
I guess to tap it off, I get concerned about people marching in lockstep, but I understand your point that if you don't, someone else might.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, you have to always be, as a representative, you have to do what you're there because of the people. You don't send somebody to Washington because, this is the way I feel about something, which is, unfortunately, we have too many narcissistic politicians that go to Washington. They not only not vote for what their constituency wants, they also are sitting there insider trading, doing whatever they want. They never get, they're never held accountable because they always get reelected, whatever that might be. At the end of the day, you should do what matters for your district. Right now, the economy is huge. Thank God we have President Trump turning things around from an economic perspective. The border crisis was, everything that was happening in our country was destroying it. And Biden did destroy our country in such a short amount of time. We're now trying to reverse that in the Trump administration. And so ultimately, to your point, we have to be in lockstep from the president. I think he is the commander in chief. He was historically reelected. We need to be delivering on his agenda, which is what the people historically, from a mandate perspective, voted for.
So if Massey's order comes down to release the Epstein list, where do you vote on that?
First of all, I would appreciate that what someone like Massey should do, and what I think what most representatives should do, why don't you take a poll of what matters in your district? Why don't you take a poll for what your constituency wants? And so,
but you have to vote yes or no
ultimately
on the petition.
It's kind of hard to organize a scientific poll that will reach enough people in time when these things get introduced. We know that Massey's been working on it for a while, so it does make sense to be like, oh, I'm going to set up a poll in my district. But sometimes you might get something that can move through in a week. Some big political thing happens, and they say, we're going to draft a bill on this, get it introduced by next week. It should be done. You're not going to be able to organize any meaningful poll. And any poll that you organize would easily be exploited by people who want to trick you into voting the wrong way.
Well, and most policies, though, let's not forget, are not clean bills. Half of this stuff, you have stacks of paper, to your point, you have to read over, 10 hours, but it's not really straightforward.
Have you read through Massey's?
I haven't actually.
Massey and Ro Khanna, I think.
No, I have not.
I think it's pretty good. The initial bill that was put forward by Ro Khanna, I heavily criticized because it would require the release of all the evidence, which includes videos of children. And so I said, this is a trap. Democrats put forward something they know Republicans can't vote on. Ro Khanna, then I interviewed him and he said, okay, you're right about that. That was not my intention. I appreciate bringing that up. Appreciate that you brought it up. We're going to change it. So he and Massey got together and they drafted a very, very simple, I think it's 2 pages, very clean, release what of the Epstein's information that you can without exposing any ongoing investigations, evidence, that would depict, children and women being trafficked. So I think his bill actually looks pretty good. Trump has not given us a real reason as to why he does not want it released. So were I to be in Congress, I would vote for it to be released.
What about you? Yes or no?
I'd like to look at the bill. I'm not going to comment on anything until I've seen the actual bill, because
if you have an
it's not
option
right.
to release the Epstein list, but Trump tells you no, what do you do?
I'm not going to, I haven't seen this bill, so
But
I don't know.
just in general, would you release the Epstein files in a way that made sense to you, even if Trump didn't want you to do
I think it matters of what your people want. You're not sitting there. I think sometimes there's so much sensationalism that happens in politics, and ultimately, why don't we, if the constituency wants something to be passed when it comes to economics, the border, things that the kitchen table issues, why don't we focus on that instead of, at the end of the day, trying to be sensationalists? And I'm not saying that this particular situation is sensationalist. However, from overwhelming conversations on the ground, I will tell you the majority of people are focusing on how they can feed their families, why they can't afford homes, what's going on in our district when it comes to hurricanes. Those are things that really matter to the constituency, and set up some of these people that look at Twitter and things like that. And I'm not minimizing it. I'm just saying.
You have to vote when you're in Congress.
Of course I do. Of course I
present. Or you don't show up, right? But the issue is that Trump has handled this so miserably that it's actually inflamed the issue. There was, and Dan Bongino and Cash and Pam have handled this miserably, and I consider them, Cash and Dan, to be, well, Cash is a friend. Dan, I know a little bit. He's a good dude. I respect them. They're friends of the show. They've handled this so poorly, they have made it an issue.
Yeah.
And I wonder why that is. And then Donald Trump says it's a hoax. I don't know why that is. And now I'm kind of like, yeah, I'm not playing any games. This is weird. Dan Bongino could have come out and said one very simple thing that would have put the story to rest like that. If he looked into the camera and he said, guys, we're working on this Epstein investigation. You can trust me on this one. It may take some time, but we're going to get to the bottom of this one. Please, just be patient. Story gone.
Yeah.
Instead, they come out and they're like, there's nothing here. It never happened. Donald Trump comes out. It's a hoax. And now we're all going, does he want this to be the biggest trending story in the world?
Yep.
Because this don't make sense.
Yep. No blackmail. He totally took his own life. Nothing to see here. Don't talk about it. You're a weakling if you do, which is just absolutely absurd.
I'm like, anybody who sat down for 10 seconds of Marketing 101 would have been like, here's what you do. Say, if you want to make this the biggest trending story, say this. And then they went, you got it. Went out on TV and said everything they said.
Did he win?
I think there's a lot of internal pressure from the intel agencies telling them you're not going to talk about this and that's it. And I think that really shows us the true structure of power in Washington, D.C., because it also highlights how it's not just Trump who's in charge here. Someone clearly else is. Trump previously helped out the victims.
I disagree.
Yeah.
There's been some actual reporting behind the scenes that the issue is, and I think this makes the most sense because this is what I was arguing beforehand. It's not so much that he's using this against the deep state or whatever. That's wishful thinking on Megacide.
But even if he is, that's evil.
But it's not what he's doing. What it is that, as we already saw with the news saying that Elon Musk was named in it, it's bad for the stock of these companies to even have your name in any way in it, even if it passively mentions your name. There are people who associated with Epstein but didn't go to the island who are going to be named in these documents as having traveled with Epstein or partied with him. And Trump, my understanding is the reporting was Trump said it's going to hurt a lot of people. A lot of people are going to get hurt who didn't do anything wrong, and that's why he doesn't want to put it out.
Yeah, but we have discernment as American citizens, and if you're associated and if you actually did horrible things, you should be held accountable, especially when you do them to children. And this president of saying, yeah, you could hurt children, but if you're powerful enough, we'll let you get away with it.
That's not what was said. Yeah. The reporting behind the scenes is that there are people like Elon Musk who was reportedly named in the Epstein files. Why? Because at some point he crossed paths at a party with Epstein. The argument is the files are going to come out. It's not going to expose who you want it to, but it's going to have names in it of people who have worked like in some way with Epstein or financed him. Unbeknownst to them, he was doing these things. That's the argument.
Well, I think it's null and void. I think it's null and void because the documents have already been released that Elon's in there, Peter Thiel's in there. But there's also, as Elon said specifically, major left-wing backers. We're talking about Bill Gates. We're talking about Bill Clinton being on the plane as children are being hurt in the back, which Bongino was talking about years ago.
Why I'm in favor, and I would agree with Massey and say we should vote to release these things. And I put the responsibility on Trump and his team for failing this miserably.
Do you think that it was right, though, from the media perspective, to include Elon in that particular article that they did, where he specifically fought back and said, this is ridiculous. So they tried to paint him as the villain of this story when that wasn't the reality.
So I talked about this latest release, and it was heavily biased against Republicans. And I said, this is why Trump needs to release it, because the Democrats picked out Steve Bannon. They picked out Peter Thiel. They picked out Elon Musk. Those people should have some answers. But there's other people that were also involved here that are major Democratic donors, major big players. And for some reason, we're protecting Bill Clinton, who, according now to two
actually,
sources, knew children were being hurt and was there and was an accomplice to the crime. Why protect Bill Clinton?
It's completely obvious. The Epstein files are going to implicate people that are important to Donald Trump for whatever reason. He doesn't care if they did good, bad, or otherwise. The right wants to win a war against the Democrats. Trump doesn't want to allow them in any way to gain power. And I got to be honest, I'm terrified of them gaining power. I'm in favor of releasing these documents. But again, Trump is saying nothing to see here because he wants power and doesn't want Democrats to get power.
But he's losing so much political capital and power by doing so. Yes, he is. Absolutely, he is.
No one actually cares.
This will affect the midterms, in my opinion. It will.
I doubt it.
There's a lot of people that are libertarians that never voted in this last election, that only voted for him, that were in the middle because he came out and his staff came out and said, we're going to release everything.
But barely anyone's talked about Epstein since Kirk got
because
shot.
you guys you're completely discounting the fact that the average American person, again, we have huge crises that were happening that were now being solved by this administration. There is when you have a family that couldn't afford groceries, you have seniors on fixed income, you have families whose children have been killed by illegal immigrants. There are things that
there's children also being abused. There's children being hurt and abused in the thousands.
Does not live in this world.
Yeah.
But it's
they don't.
And there's
so you're saying someone has a hard time with Bill, so thousands of children getting hurt here.
That's
Like,
I'm saying there's so much
Kathy
to this story.
Kathy? Who the hell's
Kathy Newman, so you're saying argument? No. I'm saying we should have these documents released. Trump has botched this miserably. Yes. However, the obvious reason why Trump is withholding them is because he wants to maximize political power by any means to go up against the deep state.
I disagree with that.
There's also
I think that's an assertion. I think that's very favorable.
What do you disagree about?
I think that's very favorable thinking. I think that's giving him the benefit of that. That's giving him favorable thinking. He could change. He could change
Trump is protecting
the political landscape of this country.
Yes,
because the pedos haven't been held accountable. Because there's pedos who hurt children who are still out there.
Why does that benefit Trump?
That the pedos are still out there? I have no freaking clue.
Because he gets stuff from them. Because they give him money.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
He uses that.
Yeah,
because he wants to defeat the deep state and doesn't care what evil things he does to get it.
Well, now you're making an argument that it's okay that children were hurt here for political power.
Making an argument that it's okay. What are you talking about? I said it should be released. I'm saying the obvious motivation that Trump has as administration is he doesn't want these people to get back in power. He doesn't want to go to prison. He doesn't want his friends and lawyers to go to prison, and he doesn't care how he wins. When you are talking about war, they say all is fair in love and war. And so there's a simple motivation. Trump says there's a lot of powerful people in there who are going to get hurt by this. And what does that mean? It means he's probably getting something from them in some capacity, donations, resources, or otherwise, and he wants to use that. And whatever that means. Or at bare minimum, he fears that if it's released, it'll cause damage to someone like Bill Gates, who may actually do something that benefits him.
I wonder if when he went to Ghislaine in prison and he was like, okay, first she came out and said Trump never did anything untoward, and then they moved her to minimum security. I wonder if she gave him the other part of the puzzle, so now he has all the info for the blackmail.
Favorable treatment for Ghislaine Maxwell also is a very bad look here, okay? Editing the footage, also a very bad look here. Lying to the American people, treating us like we're stupid is a very bad look here. If that's the actual case here, they should just say it. It's like, listen, this country's run on blackmail. This is what's happening here, and they used it against us, so we're going to use it this time. So that's what should have been said here.
Do you believe that there is a current political war between the left and the right?
Of course, yeah. And an intel agency war as well. That also has them involved.
What do you think will happen if
that
Democrats
thrive off
win
of
back
blackmail?
Power?
What's going to happen?
What do you think will happen if Democrats win back power?
They're going to do what they always did.
Like what?
They're going to. They're not going to win the presidency.
No. I'm saying.
Also, why wasn't it released when they were in power?
Let me ask you a question. What happens when they win the Congress, when they win the House, the Senate, and the presidency? What will they do?
Probably. I mean, I was going to make an argument about Ukraine, but Trump's already kind of being egregious about Ukraine too.
So what are they going to
do? Try to implement socialism.
They're going to open the border to 20 to 40 million more illegal immigrants. They're going to finalize the criminal charges against Trump, which are still pending, arrest him, and put him in prison. They're going to go after his lawyers. They're going to arrest Bannon. They are going to go after everyone like they did the J6ers. They have shown us that they are capable, willing, and they will do it. This is not a defense of Trump's handling of the Epstein files, because my position is Massey and Ro Khanna are correct in doing this. I also, however, recognize the underlying motivation that Trump has in almost everything he does is to make sure that he defeats the Democrats and they never regain power. Hence, mass deportations and instructing his DOJ to go after these ballot harvesting schemes and mail-in ballots. If we defeat them there, they will not regain power in this current form. Democrats may win in the future if their party changes and they actually start getting rid of the lawfare. But I believe, based on what we've already seen, like the arrest of Steve Bannon, like the arrest of Trump's lawyers in multiple states, the false criminal charges, the false rape civil case, the false fraud case in New York, the raid on his home, the 20-year sentences for Proud Boys who weren't even in D.C. at the time. If Democrats win again, they will do everything to destroy you and me and everyone else. So that being said, Trump has mishandled this, and by his mishandling, and Dan, and Cash, and Pam, there is no other position but, sorry guys, Ro Khanna, Massey, roll.
Well, I think
pass the bill.
a
Get it out
position
there.
of you have the blackmail, so let's use it. I mean, I understand that position.
That's not necessarily what he's doing. I think a lot of people make that argument, and it's entirely possible. I'm giving a much more simple argument in that collateral damage will hit powerful business magnates that provide resources to Republicans in some way.
If you deserve to fail because of your associations to predators and your association to hurting children and going to islands where children were hurt, you deserve to fail.
I don't think so.
And I think those institutions need to fail. Those institutions need to be held accountable. And guess what? The economy is going to be, the economy is already a Ponzi scheme.
I don't care about the economy.
Right?
Let me ask you this. Do you think any top-level Democrats were involved in child trafficking?
Absolutely, 110%.
Do you think they will increase that when they win again?
What do you mean, increased child trafficking?
Do you think they will bring back Epstein Island once they're back in power?
There's probably already a second one already that
exists. And who do you think's running it?
The CIA.
Do you think when these people have a power of law behind them again, it will get worse?
Yeah.
Welcome to war. There is no easy answer.
Of course.
We know that if they get power, it's going to go 100-fold because we know that they were trafficking kids at the border, and Trump put a stop to this.
Luke,
it is not easy.
Yeah, Luke, why aren't you more passionate about the thousands of little kids that get sex trafficked and labor trafficked at the southern border? Complete silence about everything that happened in the invasion, but
there was no complete silence. I was actually talking about that a lot.
Okay, but then how come? Why isn't the focus also on the horrific things that happen? And this, I will say.
That doesn't excuse thousands of children being put on islands and hurt here. That doesn't excuse that,
of course
right?
not, but it is very sensationalized.
There's a trolley problem question for you. You have a government that is not currently trafficking children.
Yes.
They have evidence that some people did. If the evidence, and it's hypothetical, I'm not saying it's literally what's happening. If the evidence is released, that political party loses power to sex traffickers. Those sex traffickers will get into office and then traffic children. Is that preferable for you?
I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's a likely
not the question,
scenario.
Luke. It's called a conditional hypothetical. Can you answer it?
Yeah, if you give me that hypothetical, sure, I guess, but I don't think it's probable at all. I don't think that's realistic.
That's not what I asked.
I think exposing the predators in our society who are still out there walking in the streets, hurting more children now as we speak because they have the means and the ways and the money and the influence to do so, and we excuse that as a country is something that, of course, we voted against this last election. We were promised justice. We were promised that we were going to actually hold these powerful people accountable who pull the strings in Washington, D.C., that they were finally going to have a reckoning because we're going to stop them from being lawless, right? We were going to say we're going to be a country of law and order, right?
So you're taking the position, you're taking the deontological position. It doesn't matter if 1 million people die based on your actions if your actions save one person. That's the deontological approach.
You're playing all this hypothetical.
No, it's called moral
scenarios.
philosophy.
You're saying if we release the Epstein list, Democrats are going to win.
I'm saying
that's not what's going to happen.
Event, what would your position be?
What was the hypothetical again?
This is a classic trolley problem. Right now, the reporting that we have is that Trump doesn't want to damage his resources behind the scene by exposing them in the Epstein files. We don't know that that's the case. So once again, I am in favor of Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna's resolution to release it because Trump and his team have mishandled this. And I'm not saying it is definitive that this keeps Trump in office. I am bringing up the point that you have an absolutist approach where you're saying it doesn't matter what happens, do it anyway.
Yes, because of how egregious all the crimes are.
If you pull the trolley lever, you will kill 1 million people. And if you leave it where it is, you kill one.
Yes, but that's not related to
You're saying pull the lever.
I'm saying pull the lever where we actually have a government that represents us and isn't run on blackmail, which we deserve. Let's have a government.
I actually think right now, for the most part, we don't. I think the Trump administration winning has routed the deep state in numerous ways, and it's exemplified every day in the action, especially with Comey being indicted and the pardons of J6ers. And don't forget, every day, Cash and Dan are locking up predators, and it's one of their biggest focus. It's a big focus of theirs that the Democrats didn't have.
Yeah,
so right
what
now,
are the reasons why a lot of people have these Charlie conspiracy theories? Is because the FBI has lost all trust and legitimacy. And they're saying that the FBI lied to us about Epstein. They're probably lying to us about Charlie right now.
Agreed.
So they're spreading the
And
theories.
we all agree here that they've mishandled the Epstein case.
But all of this, though, we have to also remember that sentiment from the American people didn't start in the last, 4 years or whatever. Like, this has been a long time. Look at JFK. I mean, and it's fine to ask questions. I don't want to live in this world where you can't ask questions and you can't be passionate about what you believe and all this stuff. But at the same time, so that sentiment didn't happen, over the last, just because of this FBI and this administration. Yeah. This stuff has been going on, if not worse. Like, I trust
so why do we have to continue it?
These guys. Like, I trust my president. I trust this FBI and doing what they need to be doing.
Do you think they told you the truth about the Epstein list?
I think that we
yes
need
or no?
to,
Did they tell you the truth?
It's not as simple. But you're talking about like legislation. You're talking about
no. I'm asking you a question.
So
when Trump says it's a Democratic hoax, do you believe him?
There is so much more to the entire story that we here at this table we are not privy to.
No,
and
Trump's wrong.
And that's
it's not a Democrat hoax. He doesn't not handle this. That's the problem.
Yeah, and I think like Trump is also just he gets really frustrated with people that aren't trusting the plan. I know it sounds like a little cliche, but it's true. And to be fair to Trump's point is after the Epstein thing was completely botched, which I mean I'm a Trump guy. I'm fully willing to admit it was not handled very well. Polling didn't really budge. Like the vast majority of Americans are not online. They're watching Fox News. If you watch Fox News, that's why Bondi and Trump are so confused over why there's a segment of the right that's
but
so
the
mad
middle of America that isn't political
they don't.
sees this, and
No,
I think
they
it does.
don't.
If they did, you would see it in the polling.
Luke,
you would see it in the
you live in an anarcho-libertarian Bitcoin world. We've gone over the polling on the show like 700 times.
I live in Miami. That's where I live.
That's
okay,
Bitcoin world, right?
and I see a portion of the voter base that decided to vote for the first time. And that base and a lot of Americans, even Americans that aren't politically inclined, have been talking about this. And this is an issue. And this is an issue that's very important for a lot of people.
But it's not important enough for any major pollster to actually consider in a campaign.
Who's doing all the posters? People who have still landlines and are picking up their phones.
No, you are completely wrong about this. I'm talking about his team. I'm talking about his consultants, people like Charlie Kirk, what he was doing. And I'm talking about people like Alex Brusewitz.
Charlie Kirk behind the scenes was saying release the Epstein list.
And I agree with that. My point is, this is not a principal issue for Americans, and the polling shows that. They mostly don't know what it is.
Why was Charlie Kirk then behind the scenes trying to work with Donald Trump to release the list, right? He saw this as an important issue because the young people did believe that this was an important issue.
This is an exaggeration, Luke.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
You're in a bubble.
I think when it comes to Congress and things like that, I think your constituents, their will should matter with something like this. So I don't know about the influencer world and all this stuff. If people are working behind the scenes, I think ultimately when it comes to like legislation and things like that, again, if it's something that your people are asking about and all that, then okay, and then you have conversations. But you don't just sit there and look at what Twitter is saying. And there's a lot of BS out there. And I'm not saying that this situation is entirely BS, but there's a lot out there that a lot of it is driven by sensationalism. And by the way, the Democrats love this. They love when this happens.
We got to jump to the next
stop giving them weapons. Just really quick, release the list or not? Yes or no?
I'm like, there's no, you're trying, like,
I'm
not
trying
going
to get a clear answer where you stand on the issue.
I'm not going to fall for that. Like, that's a stupid, like, trying to gotcha question.
It's not a gotcha. It's a simple question.
I'm not going to. It's just.
I've come to think like I trust Cash to lie about the right things, and sometimes you use evil to create order, and that's how the world has always been. And sometimes you just do it. I mean, if you know.
I think the only answer you could actually have is I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Because not giving an answer, people are going to accuse you of running, sniffing Trump's ass or whatever. But if the honest answer is honestly, I want to see what
I would want to see what the people, my constituency, would want.
Yeah.
We got
to move.
We're going to jump to the next story instead of arguing all day.
Oh,
this
we
is
go
a big
4
one.
hours on that.
From theblaze.com, China behind massive nationwide SIM farm network that directly threatens American critical infrastructure. And they were attacking me personally.
You're in the story.
China launched a international attack on critical American infrastructure and personalities, which included me. This is pretty crazy. This is wild. So the discovery of SIM farms that threaten cellular networks in New York City is only the tip of the massive nationwide network run by Chinese Communist government that poses an immediate threat to critical infrastructure and has led to terrorist attacks, including hoax SWAT raids at the homes of national leaders, Blaze News has learned. So DHS located this. Look at this. There's tons of them. Check this out. They say this is it's absolutely an act of war, according to a top intelligence official speaking with Blaze News. A direct threat to our nation and needs to be shut down today, like ASAP. Only 5 of them have been taken down so far. Let me just read where let me find where in the article.
So this was the fake cell towers that were used to do the swattings. Is that correct?
This is what they're reporting, and let me jump to the portion. It says, recently these SIM farms are believed to be responsible for dozens of hoax SWAT raids, including a senior U.S. Secret Service official, FBI Director Kash Patel, members of Congress, including Marjorie Taylor Greene, and media influencers such as Tim Pool and Steve Bannon. Well then, what do I get? Do I win a prize? Is the federal government going to give me a cookie or
Yes,
something?
you are the tip of the spear. Congratulations.
You get a Chinese fortune cookie.
Welcome to the future.
Yeah, I have to wonder too with the a lot of the threats that we get. As I mentioned recently, I've been in direct contact with the FBI, like over the threats we've been receiving because they've ramped up substantially. And one question has always been: are these actually foreign state actors? And my argument in response to this story is 2 things. Yes, I believe them when they say China is behind this. However, we also have evidence that not all of the SWATs were from the same source. And we do have evidence, and we've submitted this to the FBI in the previous administration, that it likely came from a leftist. And I have evidence that I can't speak publicly about. It would compromise any investigation. But we have evidence. Additionally, when we get these death threats, and then you go online and see the people saying them in videos, we know it's Americans doing it. Yeah. So I do believe that there are foreign actors that are trying to fan the flames by sending us death threats and launching these hoax SWAT raids. We also know for a fact some of it is coming from leftists.
How do we know that it's China? I know we're getting some of the reporting here, but I haven't seen any kind of
because
clear
they have
answer.
A source at DHS, numerous that have confirmed to them, and that's what their reporting is based on. So if you trust the Blaze, then you can believe it, and if you don't, then you don't believe it.
And if you trust DHS.
I trust DHS.
China's a good boogeyman. But I'm not saying that it wasn't China.
It's crazy to say, but there are people in this administration that I have known for years, and I don't think they're lying to me.
You know, it is the kind of thing where if an actual American did a SWAT, and then, you know, Chinese are watching this right now. They're tapped this show. They love it. Probably a bunch of them love it. What's up, guys? I'll be in China soon. That's my plan. That they're like, oh, let's copycat. Let's make Tim or whoever think that.
They're going to harvest Ian's organs. We're never going to see him again.
Man, I'm going to meditate in the mountains, baby. We're going to make videos about it. Beautiful western mountains of the ancient Shu Empire. I'm there with you. That it's easy to copycat. So you get one crime in America, and then foreign actors are like, let's replicate that and make them think that it's coming from within, psych them out, you know, get them to turn on each other.
100%, yeah.
It's so important that we hold it together. I think because of this and things like this, it's so important that we as Americans keep cohesion.
The more that we are divided, whether it's politics, culture, whatever it is, you're allowing an open door for the enemy within and without to completely take their chance. And that's historically been the cycle. And that's why it's so important that, to your point, we do remain united and we do uncover these things when they happen. But it's important that we don't show that we're, you know, everything that's going on, the weakness, you know, sometimes that is caused by, again, the media, unfortunate circumstance, like horrific circumstances that are done by horrific people. But at the end of the day, what we can control is to remain united as much as possible.
Yeah, well, I think people like Americans on the right are really burnt out with foreign entanglements. they hear the GOP, they're, these swamp creatures like banging on and on about the CCP. And so they kind of roll their eyes and say, okay, this is a boogeyman. But like legitimately is. I mean, this story is a great example of like, no, they actually are our leading global adversary. Yes, they are trying to undermine our country. Yes, they are threatened by the Trump administration's efficiency and their ability to sort of show strength globally. So it's like, yeah, I understand. I see a lot of people typically they kind of just roll their eyes at the CCP dooming, or they kind of hand wave it away. But they are legitimately, and the story proves they have a lot of they're making a lot of plays in the United States.
Well, it technically doesn't prove it. It is evidence because the claims themselves aren't proved.
Sure, but if this reporting is true, it just adds to the list of ways the CCP is, actively meddling in the United States.
Well, the story that I'm reading is talking about how they were bot farmers, how they could have capabilities to send out 30 million texts per minute under the type of equipment that they had. They had more than 100,000 SIM cards that were also seized. And I think there's a lot more to this. And automatically, I would love to see some evidence highlighting how China was involved here, because I think there's a possibility for a false flag potential too, especially with how just angry the intelligence agencies have been within the last few years, especially under the Biden administration, against independent media, against content creators, and they have acted against them like we saw with what happened to Steve Bannon, Roger Stone, and James O'Keefe. So I wouldn't be surprised if the swatting actually came from inside the House, and that China's just being blamed right now for it personally.
You said how many texts per minute? 600 million texts per minute?
30 million.
30 million texts per minute. This is industrialized psychological warfare. We've come to that age now with first computation, electrical computation, now artificial intelligence. Like the machine gun was industrialized warfare. You churn men into the grinder. That started in the early 1900s. Now we're seeing this rapid psychological manipulation that's inconceivable. 30 million texts per minute. What human can keep up with that? How do you even know what's real and what's not? And that's the point. That's the point of it a lot of times.
Yeah, it's definitely not past the CCP to be bot farming. I mean, I think it was during it was like right during COVID, when Twitter removed like tens of thousands of profiles that were just spamming like pro CCP stuff all the time. And it's like, you saw a lot of it during COVID. Was a lot of, I guess, disinformation, which is a bit cringe, but I guess all this to say, it's really not past the CCP to be bot farming. And I think in this article, it said that this specific, battery farming has been going on since like 2004.
I think every government should be bot farming. I mean, it's a psychological war. You have to have some control over the media narrative as a nation. I hope the Americas got a great one too. And like you saw, Israel now wants to buy TikTok. I'm not sure if that purchase went through. It comes from China. America's like, stomp it down, and then Israel's going to buy it.
Well, it's not Israel. It's Larry Ellison.
Okay, head of Oracle, second richest man in the United States, worth $450 billion roughly. I know he's in the pocket, not in the pocket, but he's tight with Trump. Larry Ellison. Is he tight with the Israelis? Why did Israel? Okay, so he is tight with Israel. I mean, the Israeli-American PSY connection is very tight. And you saw that with Ghislaine Maxwell's father, Robert Maxwell, allegedly or provably working with Mossad. Like, no one's like thinking we're not super tight with Israeli intelligence. The Five Eyes. I don't know how involved Israel is with the Five Eyes, but I don't know why I brought it up. That's more of a
Can
British.
we talk about how the CCP was using Venezuelan passports to illegally enter our country, and why wasn't can that be more investigated? Can we find out what type of bad actors were coming into our country because of a border invasion? I mean, there's so much stuff here that happened under the Biden administration, complete subversion, all these little nuances. I hope every single thing is investigated. Yes, that's very sophisticated. What's happening here, and to Tim and these influencers and members and things like that, is very sophisticated. But what also was going on and what is already in our country?
Yeah. Well, it's just nice that Trump doesn't even need a bot farm. He just has like a bunch of just sensitive young patriots just posting nonstop. Exactly. I mean, look at DHS, like that guy. He's not even getting paid right now. The government's shutting down. He's just letting it fly. It's like, we don't even need the bot farm. We just got
how sad is it that Netanyahu needs $7,000 to do that?
Real.
Donald Trump can be like, post for me, and everyone's like, yeah, and then Netanyahu's like, we'll give you $7,000.
Yeah,
Per
charisma.
post,
I want you to call
which is
Gavin.
wild.
I want you to call Gavin Newsom gay. Everyone post it right now.
They'll
Call
do
him
it.
gay.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, let's,
yeah.
yeah,
Trump
you're gay.
posts a sombrero meme, and everyone just goes sombrero nuts.
It's crazy how many people are for hire in this industry. I think there should be a label. There should be something on
it's called
Twitter
FARA.
that says, "Hey, I've taken money to shill for this country."
Yep.
And why haven't those rules been followed with this particular case here? I don't understand. People like
Elon.
to talk about Qatari money, but the Israeli money's there too, clearly.
Oh, yeah.
So it needs to be exposed so we could actually get to the bottom of who's financing and trying to, of course. What did the Democrats say the Russians were doing when Trump was running for the presidency for the first time? What were they doing?
That Trump worked for Russia.
No, but
Hoax.
they said
The
Russia was
absolute
meddling
hoax.
in our political system.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Really, it was
Look what
Obama and
Israel's doing.
Clinton.
You mentioned Venezuela, Catalina, earlier. Did you guys see that the Trump administration just blew up the 4th Venezuelan boat? Allegedly, they called them terrorists. They were alleged terrorists to my knowledge,
Yeah.
but they just hit it. No congressional. I mean,
What do you need Congress for?
maybe to declare war on somebody. Maybe to do
Declaring
some.
war on who? It's in international open waters.
I mean, what
We
do you
haven't
need
done that in
Congress
a
for
while.
to bomb a foreign country? I don't
what
know.
country did they bomb?
Well, they bomb a Venezuelan piece of technology right off the coast of
How do you know?
Venezuela. That's what they told us.
So for all you know, it could have been Chinese.
For all I know, it didn't even happen. But
Exactly. If your
yeah,
argument
but they
is,
said it's the
if
4th
your
time they did
argument
it.
is allegedly it was Venezuela, then my argument to you is okay. So it was moon men made of cheese.
right, and how would that
If
be
you-
any better?
Well,
Like, they're
just-
just
that Trump
indiscriminately
bombed
killing
moon
moon
men?
men.
If Moon
just say, Ian, just say it was a boat coming from Venezuela off the coast of Venezuela.
And
Maybe
bombed
the
it,
moon men are
killed
trying
4
to steal
people.
our cheese to rebuild the moon and make it bigger, and we don't want that.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
If you knew their intention, but they said they're carteling drugs in, and they are definitely have hostility towards the Venezuelan government. Somebody said we're going to invade Venezuela.
Here's an
Is
honest
this-
question. You know, when we got leaked information that they were killing civilians in a foreign country that we never declared war on and invaded anyway, that was terrifying. But there's legitimate purpose of military use, which is not nation building in Afghanistan. So when Trump says we're going to secure our border, oh look, narco terrorists are driving in. Here's the video of it. I go, well, I don't necessarily just trust you, but there is a world of difference between collateral murder when the U.S. killed a Reuters journalist overseas and then tried covering it up, and Trump being like, I'm going to show you what we're doing in international waters because these guys are drug runners. The question then becomes, okay, all right, I would like to see evidence of this beyond just the video. I'd like to see documentation, whatever proof they can afford, but I'm actually willing to give them the benefit of the doubt on this one. It's very different. The question I would have, the first question I ask is, what are these boats doing otherwise? Is it a group of fishermen enjoying a nice speedboat through the Caribbean and Trump just blew them up? I really doubt it.
Yeah, why didn't they watch the boat come to the shore, watch it land, and then get the guys after they deboarded?
Yeah, detain them, then blow them up. Right?
No,
I mean,
and
come
get their
on,
cargo,
guys.
so you
I
take
like
it
back.
some
I like
process
Did you
here.
guys see the video recently where actually there were a lot of people, law enforcement, one of the boats was firing back at them. So
Yeah,
So
and-
we don't know what happens in
well, I
real
think that was-
time.
Ian,
many
didn't you
years
see
ago.
the Discord messages
No,
between the
this was
boats where he was talking about how he
recently.
loved
It was
the
2
other boat,
months
boat
Oh,
driver?
they loved
and
each other.
They loved each other, and that the other boat pilot was not actually, in fact, trafficking drugs.
Yeah, these guys sound freaky. Blow them out of the water. Get them out of here.
It's a little
And
too
one of
close
them
for
was
comfort.
one of them was a furry.
But honestly, I would love to have seen them let them land and then take them and take the cargo and show people instead of just blowing up all the evidence.
Like, make an example out of them. Like, these are the drugs coming in here. I mean, the war on drugs is a
That's
farce
true.
anyway. It's all just a cover for the kind of oil-rich nation that Venezuela is, a failed communistic state. But there's a reason Trump declared Maduro a drug trafficker and then recently declared war on drug traffickers, and how
And is planning
Venezuela
drone strikes in
is
Venezuela.
becoming very closely aligned with Russia, China, and Iran. And now we're flying military jets and fighter pilots and naval assets. I mean,
There's discussion of drone bombing Venezuela.
not only that,
which
there's
would require declaration of war.
there's practices of land invasion happening right now in Puerto Rico of American military service members. So I do believe we are headed towards the kind of, whether kinetic or non-kinetic type of war between the United States and Venezuela.
It ain't just the United States and Venezuela, though.
Of course.
It's going to be World War III.
It's BRICS and
Yep.
it's all the other nations involved. That
Indeed.
Yeah, for me, what I'm seeing is it's going to be Iran next, Venezuela, and then essentially Russia.
What about
That's
Iran?
that's what I said. Iran
But
first.
why? What are they going to do in Iran, do you think?
They're going to do a regime change, and they're going to probably start bombing sometime soon. American refueling aircraft is already being sent. Gaza is being wrapped up. As soon as Gaza wraps up, there's conflicting information right now about Trump pushing the Israelis towards a peace deal. The Israelis kind of pushing back right now. But I think the vice president and the president just retweeted Hamas. Which is very interesting. And Trump ordered Bibi to stop bombing Gaza. So far, the reports are coming in that Bibi has not listened to him. Just like during the time when Bibi was bombing Iran, Trump told him to stop. He didn't. He sent more bombs. Again, kind of humiliating, attacking Donald Trump once again on the international world stage.
Okay, but wait, hold on. Trump retweeted
Hamas, a Hamas statement.
The statement of where they agreed to his show of strength of what he proposed. So how is that what is the fine line to you then of sharing a fact to
I'm not sharing any I'm
sensationalizing it. And then I also want to ask you
I'm sharing a fact. It happened.
Okay,
right?
so,
I'm not placing judgment on it, right? I'm just telling people, hey, it happened.
For all this conversation about Iran and the doomsday that we're going to war and all that stuff, what is then your spectrum of going to war and then showing strength in an administration? Do you want us to be like Biden that just sat there and everybody just was completely
Biden
not
didn't
afraid
sat
of us?
There. He gave the CIA carte blanche to do whatever they wanted to do in Ukraine, and he did a lot of kind of aggressive military actions as well. So I wouldn't say he was
respected by any means. So what is your spectrum of we're going to go to war to let's actually show people that we're not meant to be effed around with? And so what is your spectrum?
So why should we go to war? Why should we go to war to show strength?
I
don't get it.
I'm asking what your spectrum of a decision by the commander in chief, what level to you is complete war or doing what it takes to make sure that our adversaries know not to mess with the United States?
That's a very kind of fine line, and I could answer that in many different ways. But obviously, you could use the carrot and the stick. I think we've been using a lot of stick. I think we need to use carrots. I think we need to promote diplomacy. And I think a lot of the problems could be solved through just economic free trade capitalism and deals that could be made right now that could promote more prosperity rather than this kind of war footing that we're on that I think is incorrect.
Nobody wants war, okay? However, do we think in the history of history that
did you support the bombing of Iran?
We are just going to get away with this stuff through peace and love.
I'm not saying that.
I
just said the stick. I just said the stick and the carrot, and I said it should be a two-pronged approach where we're strong, but at the same time, war should be a last resort. Diplomacy should always be used. Trump this time around has been bombing a lot of countries. He bombed Yemen. He bombed Iran. Did you support the bombing? But I want to ask you a question. Did you support the bombing of Iran?
I supported President Trump's decision, and guess what? Everybody was wrong. That all the doomsday people said it was going to lead to war. We're in World War III. It's like we didn't even give the administration a chance to do. They have more intelligence. They have more intelligence than any of us at this table.
It's disingenuous when
somebody trusts. I trust the president of the United States in making decisions, especially when it comes to foreign policy and what he needs to do to get things done. Why is all of a sudden it has to be sensationalized that we're going to World War III? It's like why even?
I never even said that.
There?
But
yes, you did. You said literally maybe
we're going to war with Venezuela.
Yeah,
that there probably will be a conflict with Venezuela, probably, with the way that things are shaping up. I mean, you don't bring in the military, you don't prep for the invasion, you don't send in the military if that's not an option. Obviously, all those options are on the table. Obviously, we hope and pray Donald Trump makes the decision that's going to bring peace, not war.
You're also assuming that people, that terrorists in particular, are going to come to the negotiating table when it comes to economic sanctions and things like that. Sometimes they don't.
So your solution is just bomb them?
No,
just bomb everyone and start wars? What is your solution?
I think given...
No, bombs.
Give the intelligence...
Pathological agents that target genetics, specifically in that region, Luke.
Gene-specific bioweapons.
Don't you know what Fauci was working on?
Yeah. That sounds great. Or nuclear wars.
Let's be very clear.
But what are you calling for exactly? Like, what's your position exactly? Because I'm saying we need more diplomacy. Are you saying we need more war?
You're saying but you're saying that a situation where we show strength automatically leads to war. That's exactly
no, I'm
what
not
you're
saying
saying.
That.
You just said
I'm
that.
saying we have been
you
at
just
war
said,
for.
So if I say that I agreed with the commander in chief's decision, that ultimately
I think you're
going to
say that
for
regardless,
war.
no matter what the issue is, because you're running as a politician. And
I'm not.
right?
Well, I'm running as a servant to my district that overwhelmingly supported President Trump and supports his decision as commander in chief. If we have intelligence that a foreign adversary is directly impacting the United States and Americans and our interests,
How?
Why shouldn't the commander in chief then make
Give us an example.
a logical decision to then do what he has to do, which is what happened in Iran? And that did not lead to World War III, by the way, which everybody then screamed at that choice.
But
it made an impact and it made a difference.
But where's the fine line?
Just to be pedantic, some argued that it would ignite World War III at the moment. The actions Trump took with Iran could still be a contributing factor to the escalation of tensions between BRICS and NATO.
It's not an end of the conflict.
No,
Iran
definitely not.
Iran literally went to China
Where
afterwards.
we dropped bunker busters on Iran that were designed 20 years ago specifically for bunker bustering Iran, and that would not inflame tensions. Of course it will inflame tensions.
It inflamed tensions and it stopped the negotiations happening in Russia right now. The deals that were supposed to be made, Putin was watching the negotiations and said, do not bomb Iran. He saw the bad faith actors in those negotiations, and it affected the negotiations with Ukraine. So you can't say it had no effect, everything's fine, when we're still very close towards another war with Iran. China is now becoming closely aligned with Iran and now Venezuela, and we are becoming and going on this kind of trajectory that we should be using diplomacy. That would be a lot smarter.
Much more than that. BRICS already exists.
Of course.
We don't even have a conversation about China and Iran becoming close. They're close.
But also,
yes, but they're coming even closer and becoming more on a war footing. And now more war equipment is being shared, and now we're being brought closer to this type of bigger conflict, which I think we should be doing everything to avoid.
Do you think in any case showing a show of strength is necessary?
What do you define that as?
Any show of strength.
Because negotiating in bad
like
faith.
Trump flexing on stage with a shirt on.
Very base.
I don't think they're going to be flexing on the world stage. Obviously.
Like taking out Soleimani, for example.
Got the best muscles.
Do you believe that there is... Do you believe in
I asked you a bunch of questions and you still never answered them. I answered a lot of your questions.
No, you haven't. You didn't answer.
So you supported the bombing of Iran, and you thought that brings peace, yes?
I said I supported
and we're in
Trump's
peace right now. Are we in peace right now?
I
with
support
Iran?
President Trump's decision.
I don't know about that.
We are not currently at war with Iran. It was a 12-day war. The United States crushed them, and then they said, "Okay, we're done."
Okay, so what's the solution? What are you trying to get
solution
at?
Solution to what?
The questions that she's
We bomb
asking.
a country in between just as a consolation. I think that'd be.
We just sacrifice some children at the altar of the military-industrial complex, and then as soon as we sacrifice to Moloch and the demons out there, then it's fine. Just a little bit, of intervention, just a little bit of war.
Dramatic, completely manipulating what I said. I said
being
that I
sensationalistic.
support peace through strength. And I don't believe that all of the decisions from the commander in chief, given the intelligence that he receives, that is again above all of our pay grades here, ultimately he makes a decision that doesn't lead to war, that doesn't fuel the military industrial complex. Believe me, I'm the wife of a veteran who served in the global war on terror. I'm completely against the military industrial complex. However, I'm not against peace through strength, which is a cornerstone of American foreign policy.
Peace is done through diplomacy. Peace is done through negotiations.
You sometimes can't.
Can you stop interrupting me? Can I let you finish, and I listen to you. Can you please let me finish, right? If you look at all the peace that we have ever had, it is because people came to the negotiation table and made a deal. And because they won wars, right?
There's a thing called gunboat
It's because
diplomacy.
We vaporized Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and they dropped to their knees.
Not
and
always,
said, please stop.
But a lot of the times, a lot of wars were prevented because of negotiations.
Since the end of World War II, the peace came about from our retreat.
It was gunboat diplomacy.
So if you believe in negotiation, then why are you upset that President Trump reinstated the? You said
you're making that up out of your own head. I never said it. I was upset that he did. I said that he just did.
I think Luke hates America. I think Luke just hates America.
Luke, you got to flex a little more, baby. No, gunboat diplomacy was this decision late 1800s, sometime when they're like, we're going to roll up our ships on the coast park them right in front of the city and be like, now you're going to do some diplomacy with us.
There's a reason why so many people voted for Donald Trump when even when he was talking to you directly, Tim, he was like, yeah, why are we involved in Yemen? Why are we doing this? We should be taking care of our own problems at home. So if you're arguing, yes, we have to be the world police, yes, we have to bomb countries for peace, that is a ridiculous, idiotic notion that doesn't make any sense, doesn't add up when we have clear priorities here at home that need to be prioritized.
Like
because guess what?
Venezuelan drug cartel members in the Caribbean.
Abdullah with flip-flops in Iran is not my enemy.
Okay, but you're clearly putting you're putting words in my mouth that I'm for being the world
you're like,
police.
we need peace through strength. We need to do this.
So how is that being the world police?
We need to spend all this on. We're spending records. We are in debt up to our ears because of the military-industrial complex. How much money are we just wasting away, throwing away? DOJ and Elon Musk could have never gone to the Pentagon and audited them. Why? Why can't we have an audit from all the contracts, from all the nonsense, from all the malfeasance, from all of these people robbing us blind?
The military,
listen, Luke,
can I make one point?
Someone has to sacrifice children at the altar of Moloch.
Oh my gosh. Can I make one point here? The military,
That's exactly what's happening here.
The military-industrial complex literally started like in 1913.
And they're robbing us blind.
Okay, but you're sitting here trying to blame this administration for decades of poor policy.
No, I'm not. All I'm saying is keep your campaign promise and let's take care of our problems at home. We have clear issues. Let's take care of them.
He is taking care of the promises back
Okay, but let's
home.
hyper-focus on that and not send a quarter of our THAAD missile defense systems over to Israel right now. We don't need to be doing that. We don't need to be spending billions of dollars.
Hold on.
Right?
You know. Maybe we do.
You certainly need a broad focus as the commander. You can't
Can I get
just
$7,000 now?
You need a broad focus.
Yeah.
But this is
What
why
I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leverage. I'm gonna go to Qatar and be like, "Hey man, Israel, give me 7 for pro-Israel. What are you gonna give me for anti-Israel?"
8.5. 8.5 Qatar. Come on, let's see what you got
turn the
here.
UN
But listen,
assembly into an
Donald
auction
Trump. Donald Trump
so based.
galvanized so many people by saying George W. Bush knew about 9/11. He galvanized so many people when he said we should have never went into Iraq. He galvanized so many people when he said, "Yeah, we just went in there to take the oil."
When he did that dance on SNL where he was, like,
how is
He was like,
anything that he's
"No
doing
more
today-
children to Moloch," right? And I was like,
Well, I
"Yes,
never said that.
Okay,
that's what we
he
want."
said maybe some.
Luke, we know you have
a little bit.
We know you have Trump derangement syndrome.
Oh,
which is
come
fine.
on!
Let's go!
She got you. She got you. That proves
That's
it.
obvious.
Argument 1.
You
and
can't have an
people-
argument. You can't have a
people-
clear answer.
no.
You got TDS. You're just like the
No, you know what?
What are you doing? Like, come on, that is such a cop out.
You know why I can't have a clear
Do you
argument with
support
you?
Trump when he was campaigning, or do you support Trump now?
Do you-
which Trump do you support? And you'll
Honey,
waver in the wind like a little
honey,
flag.
I have
Both.
supported him since
Both, because things
2015.
change.
Okay.
Of course. I
No,
get
but
that.
let me yes, I have supported President Trump since 2015. But I will tell you, people like you make it hard because you want to have a substantive conversation, but yet you sit there and say you're completely twisting my words. You're saying I'm the world's I want to.
You just want to sacrifice children to Moloch. It's okay. I get it. It's fine.
When I
Just
literally
sacrifice
told
Billy and
you-
Bobby, give them to the Epstein criminals and predators out there. It's fine.
Just let
Like,
each other
how-
finish,
I
guys.
gotta
How
be
is
honest.
this
I
even
think Catalina's going to
productive?
get a massive amount of donations after she claimed you had Trump derangement syndrome because the chat's
Yeah.
blowing up. Like,
CatalinaForCongress.com. Luke has Trump derangement syndrome.
Can we make a yard
Yeah,
sign?
no, it's
Can
going to be
we-
a T-shirt.
can we make
Okay, a crop top actually.
When I definitely want to let you point that out. When Trump was running in those early days and saying we never should have been there, he was ignorant to a lot of geopolitical strategy of taking the Suez Canal, holding it, using Israeli nuclear force, eradicating radical Islam and whatever that means, whether or not you agree with that. But when you get into office, now you're like, oh, I have to decide who lives and who dies. We need money.
I
We need
truly
trade
believe
routes.
he has avoided war. And I truly believe, again, as a wife of a veteran of global war on terror, it's hard to see an entire generation that was completely misled. A lot of these guys look back and they say, all for what? It's devastating, the impact of what that war did on
They
an
should have never
entire
been sent over
generation
there.
of men.
Okay.
They
But
should have.
if you, but
to sit there and
if we
change
go
the
back in
subject now.
time, you would have
All
been
right, everybody,
arguing.
we're jumping
You would have
into
been
the-
saying,
No, I actually
he has
wouldn't.
weapons
No, I
of mass
wouldn't.
destruction.
No, I wouldn't.
That
I'm
Saddam
kidding, don't actually
Hussein
mute
guy
it.
has connections to 9/11.
I'm going to stop you because
Okay,
I'm
guys,
carpet
completely
guy.
anti-war.
I'm telling you.
I'm
Guys,
completely
we're gonna jump to this
anti-war,
one
and
last-
it's rude that Luke
one
continues
last
to
segment.
say that.
Changing the subject. We're going to rag on some liberals. Before we're going to grab one last segment for the weekend. We got to do it because this one is, how do I say this? I am emotionally triggered and personally offended and biased. I got this tweet. I tweeted this. 90% of liberals we try to book demand money. 0% of conservatives ask for money. In fact, conservatives sometimes drive themselves even though we cover travel and accommodation. Liberals are grifters. They don't care about ideas. They care about money, and they will say anything for money. And I believe it. So we have an update for you guys for the Culture War Live event, which is coming up in a couple of weeks. We had booked Naima Trout, who is notable because she debated Charlie Kirk on Jubilee. She had agreed to come on the show in exchange for $500. This is the Culture War Live ticketed stage event. We have never offered money for Timcast IRL. We have been offered money. We have turned it down every time. We do not offer money to appear on any of the shows that I do. Naima was invited to come on the debate show about dating, and she said, how much? So apparently her team had negotiated with Alex, not someone from our team, and she was offered $500, and we never pay. The events lose money. We do this because it's for the cause, for an impact. They came back to me, to our team yesterday saying she had received an offer for $5,000 and would be backing out of the event unless we could match or offer more. To which we responded, no, we can't do that. Now, I'll grant some respect. If I was asked to go to an event and I said, sure, I'll do it, whatever. And then like a week later, someone said, Tim, we're going to pay you to do another event. I'd hit him up and be like, guys, look, I got to take the money. Sorry, like it's a paid gig versus. So I'm not completely bent about that. But it is a reality that conservatives never ask for money. I think to be fair, 0%, it might be 0.01% because we may have had one personality who's not a conservative, but is like a celebrity who kind of agrees with Trump. So anyway, here's what ends up happening. I tweet this. It's got 4,000 retweets, 811,000 views because it's true. And even Bill Maher said the same thing. And everyone's favorite, Olivia Giuliana, she is a liberal personality, tweeted 10,000 likes and I'll post screenshots of Tim's team offering me money to collab with him. I love the word collab because that literally never happened. I don't collab, but I guess semantics. People who are invited to come on the Culture War debate show, which I will also add, I wouldn't be there, as we already announced, I wouldn't be for security reasons, and we don't know yet if I will be there. She said, 10,000 likes and I'll post screenshots of Tim's team offering me money. And this just so beautifully exemplifies the point. She wouldn't just do it. She wouldn't just say, oh yeah, look, Tim offered me money. No, she says, you give me clicks and help me build up my personality and my career and my job, and maybe I'll consider being honest, of which she wasn't, because Lisa, who does our booking,
Patriot,
posted the screenshots on X showing everything, and never was she offered money. Hi, Olivia. Tim Pool is a new show, The Culture War, where two guests with opposing views. Hi, Olivia. The Temple is hosting an event July 26th in Washington, D.C. No offer of money. She said, hi, I have a prior familial obligations and will be unable to attend. Thank you for the invitation. Then an email. We would like to invite you to the Culture War, the Comedy Loft. No offer of money. And, excuse me, the other half of the email. Here's the date. Here's who's going to be there. Kat Timpf, Kyla Turner, Myron Gaines will be there. And then she even went further to include a text message with another staffer who said, we never offered her any money. So maybe she's just a lunatic who was, I don't know, talking to some random cactus and thinking it was me offering money. I don't know, but we never did. These people lie. It's what they do. I am genuinely convinced that about 90% of liberals are literally just saying whatever they have to say to make money. People like Jimmy Kimmel are no exception. Sam Cedar? Well, to be fair, Sam did the show for free, so I'll give him some respect. Hassan, grifter. Krasensteins, they never asked for money. They came on the show, respect, despite not respect in other areas.
Speaking of liberals making money, Luke, how much are you getting paid to be here?
0, actually.
Oh, wow.
I'm volunteering my time.
Wow, you have.
You're well. Yeah.
Your thesis is wrong here.
Well, Luke's like an anarchist.
No, he's
not a
definitely
liberal.
He's
He's
giving me
definitely
liberal vibes.
not a liberal.
He's giving me liberal vibes.
he's a panic.
Well, I mean, there's other
a
people who
mannequin.
don't like tries a panicking.
He's a panic. Get him out of here. Get
Someone
the panic out of
seems-
here.
someone seems a little
say
bit-
donate to me, Luke's a panicking, and then watch this.
Someone seems
Donate.
just a little bit triggered,
www.catalinaforcongress.com.
emotional today.
No,
Emotional.
looks at
Wait,
hippie.
sorry,
I
are
believe in freedom and personal responsibility.
Are
Something
you
that
saying
politicians
I'm
usually
emotional?
don't know.
What?
Something that politicians usually don't know much about.
What do we not know?
Freedom and personal responsibility.
Have you guys ever fallen into that place where you just decide, I'm going to start lying now, and then you kind of just justify it for yourself and you become that person?
No, you'd be a liberal if that was the case, because there's easy money.
Yeah, I've waved through that state of mind,
That
and
was
that's what's
college.
happening to these
Bro,
people.
that was
Bro,
college.
Luke, Come on.
I've
How
been
much
there.
money do you think we could make if we go all in on Israel, bro?
It's so
stop,
dark.
Stop ragging on Israel. You like.
Then I got to
like,
stop talking about the Epstein list
bro,
too.
Look, what if you did 10 tweets per day? You know what I mean?
Praying to
$70,000.
the Zog.
Nah, they don't got a budget for that. But they might be, $7,000 per day, bro. Come on.
Hey, that's a lot of money.
Sell
When the
your
IRS
soul.
took everything from me last year, I would have thought about it, but probably would have said no.
Like, it's
of course.
possible that this girl was wrong.
Don Lemon asked for $50,000.
Wow.
Dude.
I mean,
You know what?
live on an
I
ass ring,
find
guess.
that actually really insulting.
Who does he
because
think he is?
I think it's actually, no matter how much someone likes to argue here, I'm really grateful that you have people on, and people like myself, we're really honored to be able to have a platform and for you to invite us on and to have these dialogues and this conversation, because we're reaching an audience that, we might not normally. And so thank you. But and I'm really insulted
great.
that people ask you for money to be on here.
There are some prominent podcasts that pay people to come on the show. And we don't do that. We won't give people money to come on Timcast IRL. We've talked about it. Like, if there's a celebrity who's not a political figure and we want them to comment on something, but we're like, that's what culture war is for. Because if they're not if not a person who's in politics and news and doesn't know what's going on, we get specialists sometimes on the show who will be like, we had like White Coat Waste Project, and they're not news guys. They're specialists. So they don't have a lot to say on like politics of Yemen, you know what I mean? So we try to reserve that stuff for culture war. The only culture war events we've actually offered money for is literally this one time for Naima, because it is a stage event. We've talked about it, and I said, well, it's not the same thing as asking someone to come and sit down and have a conversation. We're asking them to be in public with an audience, selling tickets. So I think it's fair that the people who do request some kind of compensation, we would offer something. But Cat Tim didn't ask for money. Myron didn't ask for money. Michael Malice didn't ask for money. Literally no one's asked for money. In fact, even Alex Stein. Alex did it for free, right? Even Alex co-hosted for free. We lost money doing those events. I think we lost a little bit. Like we made back a good amount, and we do it for the love.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm here.
zero.
I flew myself out here. I'm here for free, unlike what Catalina
Whoa.
believes. But I think it's important to have these discussions, and I'm here because I love these discussions, and I think it's important to discuss. I think it's important to
I think
argue.
that's true for
I think
all-
it's important to ask questions.
But this is true for all of us. And this is the point I'm making with this tweet. When you look at, David Pakman, his opinion's for sale, bro. Like Hassan Piker, his opinion's for sale. Hassan Piker is simultaneously pro and anti military-industrial complex. His position makes no sense.
Right.
He's like, we should be cutting off Israel because the military-industrial complex in the Middle East, but we should be giving it to Ukraine. And I'm like,
I know.
huh?
It's like, what the hell?
What are you
Well,
talking
but then
about?
that's
Total
not
hypocrites.
principled. That's just
No, it's
based
grifter.
on grifter.
Grifter. I'll give Sam Cedar credit in that he came on for free. But Sam Cedar is a different kind of grifter. He makes videos about me like nonstop, and this is really funny. I'm looking straight into the camera at you, Sam. When I was sick for August, I was mercilessly sick. He didn't make one video about me because I didn't make any videos. His viewership dropped. What did it drop by? Like 20%, and his subscriber growth dropped by like 70%. When the man can't talk about me, he loses views. I'm so sorry about that. I know your kids need to eat. Different kind of grifter. But the rest of these liberals are literally like, I've got so many followers, I can make money now.
Shout out to Stephen Bonnell, who, whether you like Destiny or not, he would pay for his own travel all the time, and he's been doing that for years and years.
Yeah, but that guy's trying to get killed.
Like
Steven-
I don't know
Steve-
his
Yeah,
intentions.
it's not a good
really.
situation
Bro.
to bring him up.
Hey, at least you can.
No, no,
I
no,
can point
Ian,
out in
Ian,
this one instance,
Ian,
he does pay
Ian.
for himself and never asked for money.
Listen, Ian.
I don't like judging people and
I
calling
think
them
one of the
liberal and all
one of
that
the
crap.
one of the biggest critiques people have of you is that you seem to be willfully obtuse.
Of course, that's my position on the show at the moment.
Okay, Destiny has celebrated death, called for killing of conservatives, said conservatives should fear death,
And Hitler loved
praised-
dogs.
and then goes out in public for a public tour right after Charlie is killed.
Hey, all
Is-
that stuff I condemn. A lot of that, what you just
My
said.
point is, you don't go on your show, mock people and praise, mock people whose friend just was murdered, praise the assassinations after you suffered criminal charges. I think I don't know the full details, where your kid is going online and insulting you, and your wife left you, and then you say, "Hey guys, I'm gonna go stand in public. Here's where I'll be standing." It's like, we get it, dude. We get it. You're trying to get someone to hurt you. Please, no one hurt this man. Okay,
Yes.
he's in need of a 5150.
Yeah, he's not doing too well.
I reached out to him a
And
couple
we
years
should
ago.
Pray for him doing better.
Let me ask you this. So when it comes to the financial incentive, when you come on here, especially like as a candidate, this is just from my perspective, right? Or anybody, you're subjecting yourself to if somebody disagrees with you, horrible, comments. I don't even want to see the comment section here. You're subjecting yourself to vulnerability in terms of anybody can take a clip or misconstrue what you're trying to say, manipulate what you're trying to say when that's not actually what you're trying to say. There's a huge liability in doing that, yet people still come on here to have these discussions because that's worth the ultimate backlash. Do you think in their mind they think that it's only worth to come on? It's not right, but when there's a financial incentive because you're putting yourself in that.
I guarantee you there is a number I can give most liberals where they will change their opinions in 2 seconds.
Yep.
Conservatives, absolutely not.
Right.
They
can just be bought.
I say this of 90% of conservatives because I think it's absolute. Because the way I put it is 90% of liberals are grifters, 90% of conservatives are honest to their mission. That means you can find some conservatives, but I guarantee you, if I went to anybody in the Turning Point building and said I would give you $100,000 right now, cash, here you go, suitcase. All you need to do is I'm going to film a video of you renouncing Christ. They would say never, never. But I know that I can go to liberals. A good majority. To be fair, some of them may weigh 100,000 against their multi-million-dollar enterprise and say no. But the average run-of-the-mill liberal who's like wanting to come on the show, I bet if I said give you $100,000 to be conservative, they'd go, okay.
Yeah, because you got like 2 years of money for a guy making $50K, and he's like, all I got to say is some lie, and then I can spend the next couple of years making up for it.
Because they don't actually believe in what they say. There's no principle in there, what they believe.
That's how I felt at Hollywood, working in the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
The whole industry is built around that. Sell this product. Say it's good for you, even though you know it's not.
We're going to grab some super chats because we went long because that's what we do sometimes. And it's Friday, and we're having fun, and we're screaming at each other. But let's grab some of your super chats, and let's see. What do we got
I'm
here?
about to ask for a text.
Ambriel
sitting next to
Brown
you.
says we can't really...
Tax.
I'm reading super chats now. Ambriel Brown says we can't...
Sorry, go ahead.
Huh?
This is my favorite part of the show, by the way.
Considering people spent a lot of money, I will throw you guys off the show if you keep doing that. Ambriel Brown says, we can't release the files. The world would go to chaos. People will die. Vigilantes on the rise. Forget civil war. This is life for life and war beyond us. Yes, I want to know who's on the list, but the justice isn't ours. True justice will come.
When? How?
Solid.
I disagree with that notion. Justice could come now. We don't have to wait for it and have some underwater 4D chess backgammon explanation. We could get real answers. We should. We deserve it.
My jury's out with me, man. I think about lately how you create order by using evil once in a while, and then you repent along the way. But and this power of blackmail, this level of power that you could exert over big money, and big money's the problem. The Swiss banks, Bank for International Settlements. I mean, if you've got dirt on those guys, and you can somehow circumvent the World Economic Forum's attempt at turning this into a corporatocracy,
Basically, every super chat is anti-Luke.
Read them. I'm okay with that.
They're just
I like criticism, and I like.
Here's like Luke is
different
wrong.
points of
Luke is
view.
wrong. Luke is wrong.
I love constructive criticism, and I love to have these debates. So let's have these.
Not a
debates.
bot says Luke would burn down the country to get the Epstein list. Fallen Angel says Luke, justice takes time for it to work, so it won't crumble under examination, especially with the corrupt judges in the court system. That's actually true too. It's the judges that are blocking. They're judges blocking the release of these files.
They have the files. They could release them. They don't need a judge's approval for them.
A judge blocked the release of the files.
The court files, but not the FBI files, not the financial transcripts, not the records, not the victims, not the flight logs.
Daniel Cole says Luke's view, respectfully, is naively myopic. He clearly cannot see the bigger issue for the Epstein trees. Dem tyranny is 1,000-foot oak.
I don't think we're going to get dem tyranny by releasing the Epstein list.
What
Sorry.
if they could use the
Felipe
Epstein list?
Brevard says Luke only thinks about his business model. He needs material to feed his audience. He doesn't have anything to lose. We parents do. Grow up.
What are you going to lose by releasing the Epstein list?
What if it's the ability
They're
to
saying
get,
if Democrats win, their kids' future is at risk.
if they could use
I don't think that's correlated
if they
with
could use
Epstein
the Epstein
stuff.
files to repeal the Federal Reserve Act?
Great.
Would you be cool with them using it as blackmail to get those people to repeal that act?
No, I think Epstein takes priority.
Oscar Oliu says, I haven't super chatted in a while, but please tell Luke, normal people don't give an ish about rich people doing gross ish. We are worried about bills and dying from crime.
Then let's have an America First policy where a lot of the predators out there are hurting our children. Like I think it's a fair argument to make.
Luke's just like
SLVRBA. I'm not gonna read the whole thing. Says people only care about uncovering Epstein docs so they can see elites who have or may done some pedo stuff. Only a small percent actually care to get justice for the minors who were involved.
Look at what happened with Diddy today.
What happened, by the way?
We at 50 months or something?
50 months.
4 years.
Was that good or enough or not enough?
I don't think it was enough for what he was
It was a
accused
cover-up
of.
operation. For other Democrats were involved. They hit it.
Neglectful Sausage says, what aboutism? Repeal the 19th.
No, that meme's done.
How do you respond to that, Catalina?
Women belong in the kitchen and in Congress, okay?
What do you think about Anna Paulina Luna's bill to allow mothers to vote remote from Congress if they have babies?
Anna's a great friend of mine. That's an interesting one, and I'll tell you why. The argument to that was against it. Rather, was well, we women, women have to work and things like that. Well, she as a mother, she had to literally go to DC every week when she had a newborn. What if you have a child that
Resign.
has an issue
You
with?
quit.
You're gonna lose a lion like Anna over
That's right.
something.
Indeed.
Okay. Well,
If you want to open the door to Congress remote voting under the Civil Rights Act, then the Democrats are going to say, then you have to allow everyone to vote remote no matter what, and then Congress disappears.
there should be a balance, and there was a balance in that particular provision. She had a limited time. It wasn't
Imagine
opening
any
the
other
door.
job. You know what I mean? Like as a firefighter, and it's like a woman, and she's like, "I'm gonna have a baby now. You got to pay me. I'm not gonna come to work. I'm gonna work firefight remote." It's like, look, you have a job. You're expected to be there. Don't bring your kid to work. That's like the craziest thing. The other Democrat lady was like, "Look at my son. He has to be here in Congress with me." No, he doesn't. Get a babysitter.
Okay, well that was different. That was also. I think it was
That's
also
the same argument. They
but
went
I think
together.
it was also heavily sensationalized on Twitter too. Like I think it's an important thing. That was something that she cared about, and I think it was overly sensationalized on Twitter.
Like if you want to have a baby, quit. Men don't breastfeed. Like this is the problem I have with it is largely it's this gender neutral garbage where it's like, I just had a kid. I know I'm learning, and there are many more kids than I did and know a lot more than I do. But oh wow, do babies need moms? And I changed my opinion on surrogacy, which was rather fence-sittery, and now I'm absolutely opposed to it, and because newborn babies need mothers. Babies, formula is fake. Formula is a lie. Formula is a trick. Babies are surviving, but they are not thriving.
Yeah.
So this idea that we're going to be like, nah, women can be in Congress and have babies at the same time. I'm like, I'm not doing this. Women can be in Congress all they want. But if you have a baby, it doesn't matter what job you have. You go take care of your baby.
But what if you can do both?
No, you can't.
Yeah, look at look at Caroline Leavitt. She's a complete powerhouse.
Does she bring her baby to the stand at the press secretaries?
She started working 3 days.
She's holding her baby at the press.
Okay, well that's
podium?
different. That Democratic representative did that, but she's not doing that. However, she is
Right.
a mom.
She hasn't asked to work
and
remote.
She had a baby.
And did she go home and say I'm going to Zoom
she
call
worked,
the press?
She worked like 3
So we got
days
no
after.
issue. So we got no issue.
Yeah, but it's the voting it's more nuanced. than
Anna
that.
Paulina Luna said I should be able to work from home because I had a baby.
No, she didn't.
That was the bill.
That is ridiculous.
That was the bill. Are you
No,
joking?
It wasn't.
That's
What
what,
was
she
the
wanted
bill
to
then?
do.
First of all,
What was the bill? What was the bill? What was the bill? What was the bill? What was the bill?
Over a provision. It said allow it over a certain amount. It was like 10 weeks or something like that.
To work remote.
It said given the option.
To vote remote in Congress.
Yeah,
Which
okay.
means from home with your
So-
baby.
That doesn't necessarily mean that.
Oh, it means from the cafe with her baby?
Yeah, doesn't.
I don't. The
Think about
idea
how
that
these people-
anyone
how
would
many
dare
don't even-
say I should get a special class provision to vote remotely is so shockingly offensive to me. I called on her to resign, and I like her. I think she's a great member of Congress, one of the best. But if you're going to stand up there and be like, I should get to work remote, the tidal wave of corruption that opens for her personal issue is so shockingly offensive to me. My response is, how dare you go into Congress and say, I had a baby, so I'm going to vote on bills remotely, when we already have a problem of Congress not showing up and spending most of their time fundraising instead of doing their jobs. That's why Congress approval rating is like 13%.
It's more offensive to me to lose a lion like Anna over something that she felt so passionate about. Out of all the members of Congress, she's one of the few people who actually sit there and fight for the American people every single day on a national platform. She defends the president. She does her job more than 90% of the representatives right now. No, I don't want some loser from a member of Congress that does absolutely nothing, sits there lining their pocketbooks, doing whatever they want, and being silent on the issues that matter.
She can be in Congress and get a babysitter.
A powerhouse.
Then she gets
and
a
I'm sure she does.
And indeed,
but that was a particular.
So she was trying to get remote voting in Congress.
That was a particular issue that she was passionate about.
And she was wrong, and it's shockingly offensive that she would dare try.
Say, okay, well, I think it's shockingly offensive that we would completely disregard somebody like her over like everything that she's
what does that mean? Disregard her. What does that mean?
You said you called on her to resign.
If she cannot work because she has a baby, then she should resign.
That was over a certain amount of weeks here.
I don't care.
So you disagree, you would vote against it. Can we read more super chats against me?
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I want to talk about voting online.
If the position is, I struggle to do this job because I have a baby, so I should be able to work from home, quit your job. All right. It's just, Luke, it's just literally everybody yelling.
That's fine. I love
or
debate.
Just don't
Let's
show
go.
up for 10 weeks, you know?
This one says Luke is gay.
Read that one again.
I'm kidding. It doesn't say that.
Oh.
What does this one say? Jake says, Luke needs to remember his shirt says America runs on blackmail.
Yes, it does. Thebestpoliticalshirts.com.
But isn't that evil? Aren't you using evil to sell T-shirts?
What are you talking about?
You're saying something you don't believe in.
What kind of Ianism did you just pull off?
You're saying
there?
something you don't believe in.
That's another one, Ian. I'm sorry.
Or that you don't want. You're like using the
Enough of the
negativity to sell
Just
T-shirts.
face reality, please.
I just did, and you're looking at me.
Katoth says Luke is ignorant. Peace comes from the barrel.
That's Chairman Mao.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of the communists that killed tens of millions of people.
But do you believe that peace is derived through strength, and that means weapons of the day?
I think there's a two-pronged approach here. Like I said before, the answer is more nuanced: carrot, stick, and it's that simple.
I think
we need more diplomacy. We need more carrot.
Peace is derived through force, but it's sustained through diplomacy.
All right, everybody. We're getting close to that time, so smash the like button, share the show with everyone you know. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. We're going to have segments up throughout the weekend. And all next week, it is going to be a special treat for all of you. And I'm saying that because what I'm actually telling you is I'm not going to be there. We have a series of guest hosts. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. I'll give you a hint. Without saying too much, I'll just shout out Matt Gaetz. It's going to be awesome. I'm going to be doing a bunch of promo stuff, which I neglect all the time by traveling. And so I'll be doing that. Follow me on X and Instagram, all that good stuff. Catalina, do you want to shout anything out?
Follow me at Catalina Lauf on all platforms. Catalina for Congress if you want a fighter in office. And we're going to be making shirts now that say Luke has Trump derangement syndrome. They will be available on our
client list.
They'll be available on our website soon.
Which is?
CatalinaForCongress.com.
I have another great slogan. Bomb Iran. I think that's a good one too.
We're also going to do Women Belong in the Kitchen and in Congress because I believe that we can do both. We can make sandwiches and pass legislation.
This was fun. Thank you so much for engaging in this debate and this conversation. Most of my best friends I argue with like this, so I appreciate the very lively conversation. It was really fun. If you guys want to have the conversation with me, you can on youtube.com/wearechange. I always have a very fun time debating, conversing with people, so I'm all open to changing my mind. If you want to support me, you can get the shirt on thebestpoliticalshirts.com, and I have a great supplement store, wearechange.shop. This is going to be it for me for Timcast IRL for now. And I look forward to hopefully.
Yeah, we're banning him because he has Trump derangement syndrome.
No panicins at the table.
Tate, you're pissing me off. Your constant warmongering.
Yeah, dude, I'm sick of this.
No, I'm not gonna take it.
I'm sick of the graphene crap.
Yeah.
Enough. It's
well,
just
whatever
a rock.
you say, I
Get over
disagree
it.
with. So enough of you.
Big deal.
It's just a rock.
Just
Yeah,
kidding, by the way.
big
I
deal.
love this guy. But we're
love you.
brewing some beef at the moment, and it's gonna be tasty.
We'll handle this out in the parking lot.
Follow us both. I'm Ian Crossland, Real Tate Brown on Twitter. But what do you got to say, brother?
keep fighting, never surrender. Yeah, I'll see you
Just
guys next
kiss
week.
already, okay? I see the chemistry between you.
Dude,
Where are they following you? At Ian Crossland and
Yeah, Eddie and Crossland is on everywhere.
and at Real Tate Brown everywhere.
All right, it's time to get out of here, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. This has been an awesome week. Shout out to the Turning Point team for hosting us, and the guys Andrew Colvett, Jack Posobiec, and the Charlie Kirk Show. It means the world to me that you had us out here. You supported us to come and collaborate with you in this way. See, I said collaborate. So I really do appreciate it. Next week's going to be a blast with a bunch of guest hosts. It's going to get wild. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all on Monday.